Hello, y'all. Hello. Hello. What up, guys? We are back. We are back from a long 1 week banana. We were we were back from a 1 week banana. It's been so long. I grew a beard. I I don't know. My girlfriend's 30 minutes away. You are what, Tanner? You're what? I love that. What's going on, guys? Y'all tap the screen. Let's get some debates up in this mug. Guys, I have already had a very stressful day. I've had a very fucking stressful day. I've been on the phone with the bank all since, I don't know, 30 minutes ago. But it's been insane, dude. It's been insane. Couldn't sign into my Chase bank account, guys. So I call Chase, and the first thing I hear, guys, get this. They go, guess what? You're qualified for a life alert. Like those necklaces that like you press a button if you fall and break your hip when you're like 90. They're like, you're qualified for one of those. What? And they're like, let me tell you about. I'm like, bro, no. I went into my account. Let me into my account. Oh man. And then after 20 minutes, they randomly transfer me to someone else. And they go, hi, how may I help you? I I was just on hold. And I was very unceremoniously transferred to you. Oh man, they're like, well, you're gonna need to call tech support. This is the wrong phone number. Oh my god, dude. I could literally, I just switched to Chase. I'm almost regretting it. Oh my god, chat. But yeah, I can't log into my Chase Bank account. It's pretty dope. It's pretty dope. It's pretty sick. It's pretty chill. How's everybody else's Monday going? Anybody else got a case of the Mondays? I'm already sick of it. Let's open up YouTube and see what they have to say. Guys, I've been so bloodthirsty that I've been arguing with people in my comments on YouTube. I've been that bloodthirsty. Much love, Jason, with the pickles hat on. I love to hear it. It's a bank holiday. Monday's great. Oh my god, a Zionist, an actual Zionist. My first day, my first work day of Pride, working in a refinery. Guess how Monday this Monday was. Oh boy, oh boy. Don't call it a comeback. TikTok lives are back. Trish dishes with the 12-month subscription. Trish, what? Thank you so much, Trish. Guys, do we have any Trumpers in chat that want to debate? Do we have anybody that wants to debate? If not, let's tap. What's up, Dan? Let's tap the screen. Let's get like 20K. Shouldn't be that hard. Kevin Bacon Jr.? What? Guys, I fucking hate Kevin Bacon's name. Sam with the subscription. Oh my god. Trish with another 5 giveaway too. She. Stop getting banned, please. I will try, guys. I will try. Is anybody familiar with a song called Tastes Like Kevin Bacon? Goes hard AF. It's by a band called I Wrestled a Bear Once. Crispy Bacon is pretty dope. It's a heavy metal song with a lead vocalist that's a chick, and she's like a heavy vocalist. It goes fucking hard. Yukon knows, dude. I saw them play it live when I was like 17. You guys know, would Kevin Bacon be as famous as he is if his last name wasn't Bacon? We don't know. We don't know. Yukon, you know what's up, bro. Or sis. Not sure. Am I 17? Guys, I that is the highest compliment. I don't know if you meant to do that, but that is a huge compliment. I am 17 times 2. I have hairs below my waist older than 17. Hell yeah, Yukon. I'm 36. I'm not even 34. I'm 36. Larry Mueller, you need to start a channel. You need to debate people and get this off your chest and get choke slammed by a few people addressing your arguments directly a few times so that you go Google. You go deep dive these crazy conspiracies you spout in my live all day. Democrats are a threat to our constitutional republic. If only Republicans wanted a constitutional republic and not a dictatorship. Everyone has to be in their best behavior now. Yeah, I know. Yeah, guys, we have to use code words. We have to like the stream. We have to protect the stream with a bunch of likes, guys. One tap equals one. I don't know. One thing. Did I see Ukraine's big fighter jet takedown? No, I didn't. But who remembers the ghost of Kiev? Who remembers that propaganda? I loved that. That gave me chills. The ghost of Kiev propaganda was top tier. Am I pro Russia? No, 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 no. I love Ukraine, but the ghost of Kiev was not real. It was confirmed it wasn't real, but it was sick. Here we go. Yellow. Is this a Trump supporter?
Trump supporter here.
We've talked before, yeah.
Talked a couple times, buddy. Yeah, once or twice.
What do you want to talk about today? What are you excited about being a Trump voter for today?
I want to save the children.
I want to save the children. Which ones?
Now, that ain't American. I don't know what it is.
Which children are you trying to save?
The ones in utero.
In utero?
Utera.
Utera?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. Okay, I'm out here. Listen, no, but all seriousness, that's my stance today, dude. Children in utero, dude. Listen, like you have to admit, okay? Like, listen, hear me out on this, okay? You know how like someone who votes for Trump, you're like, well, how can you bypass the like all the horrible things he's done, which he has done, okay? if I do genuinely see a fetus as human life, and I give it the same moral value as an infant, wouldn't I have to necessarily vote for Trump? Because in turn, that would mean that I'm voting for someone that at least is more against the unaliving of babies. You understand my position?
Um,
Because I do view
I would say that there are better candidates, right? Like if Trump only wants to give it back to the states, which is a whole load of crock of shit, then I guess maybe not. I think that maybe Trump might be pushing people away from your stance. I would advocate for a better person, a party leader. But I would love to ask you, why do you think that multicellular organisms are people? It's kind of weird.
Well, when I use the word, well, I attribute personhood to just any like human life with its individual DNA sequence. I mean, I just view a fetus to be its own separate and distinguished entity from the mother.
Yeah, I know, but I don't feel like you're causing anything harm that is capable of experiencing harm.
Well, yeah, I mean that's a whole different conversation to have. If your stance is that if it can't feel the pain, then therefore the moral value that I attach to it is negated,
Yeah.
then I'd have to hold the position that yeah, I guess not so much, but I do believe that there's more to it than just the
And
ability to feel pain.
what else is there to it?
Yeah, so we have studies that show that the mother's psychological state is linked to the fetus's emotional state as well. That begins at the age of, I believe, 5 weeks. Sorry, not 5. I'm sorry, 6 or 7 weeks.
It's linked to it?
Correct. When the mother feels sad, the baby feels sad. When the mother's happy.
I don't think that fetuses even have the faculties to know what sad is.
Well, again, it all comes down to, again, what they've studied is that, or what they've researched is that the stimuli in the brain of the fetus, it reacts. It shows signs of reacting to sadness, happiness, things of that nature. It also can like enjoy things like music and things like that at like 10 and 11 weeks old.
It may respond to it, but I don't know. Just maybe the same way that uh I don't know, bacteria responds to sunlight.
Well, I mean, bacteria can be unicellular. I mean, to an extent, but
Yeah, I know.
speaking about something that's a little bit more complex, I guess let me ask you a question. I mean, like, if it's not human, what is it?
It is human, but it's not a person.
Okay, so it's human, but it's not a person. I
Mhm.
take it that your position is that the personhood begins when you can deploy like first
Consciousness.
person first person subjective experiences.
Um that's one way to put it. I would say sentience, consciousness. Yeah.
Okay, what about 10 premature babies or one infant?
10 premature, aren't those all the same? If it's premature, you're inferring that it's probably like something in like 20 something weeks.
Yes, so some. I mean, again, you can actually fact check me on this. But I believe that the earliest prematurely babies can be born is 18 weeks.
And I would my stance is that like 15 weeks or later is when I start giving something personhood. That's like being on the ultra safe side.
Okay, so 15 weeks or more.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you hold a more different position than some other people. Some other people would say 20 to 24 weeks.
Yeah.
Is it because of the brain activity, or is it because of the heartbeat? What is the where's the
I guess the brain activity. But even then,
Okay.
I would say that women should have the right to choose. I don't think that anybody should be stuck with like owing another person or child or fetus, whatever the fuck you want to call it. You don't owe it anything. You don't owe it resources. You don't owe it the time of day. You don't need to carry it on your back while you're swimming. I don't think that you owe anything to anybody if you don't want to. I think it takes continuous consent.
I mean, if the fetus is parasitic in nature, then I would agree, and I believe that there is actually situations where one could argue and would have good justification for it being parasitic in nature, and obviously you're aware of those cases. I mean, like obviously things like SA, grape, things like that. I feel that though, how can we give it a parasitic nature when let's say it's consensual?
It has to
So you're
be
saying it shouldn't be.
consensual all the time. You can't just consent to, like, say if you let a stranger into your home,
Okay.
and you consent to them walking in the door, but you don't consent to it 5 minutes later. You don't want them there 5 minutes later. You should be able to kick them out, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. So I think that falls apart when you start thinking about things like continuous consent.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, good point. Should you be able to unalive them?
If they refuse to leave and they're starting to take your things, in many states that is the law that you can unalive them.
Fair point. What if the baby? But where is the comparison here from this analogy to the refusing to leave in regards to the fetus? I mean, how does the fetus? How does one?
Can you
refuse
ask the fetus to leave?
No, you
Okay.
cannot.
Yeah, and it won't. So like you can forcibly remove it, right?
Well, okay, wait. So the analogy with the house, let's say the person comes in, they're blind and they're deaf. We have to make this kind of like an apples to orange.
Yeah, you can just push them out. Yeah.
Can you unalive? Can you unalive them?
Sure. Yeah.
Really? If they're blind and deaf, they can't hear you, or they don't understand what's going on. You just unalive them?
Yeah.
Oh, come on, Pickles. The consistency. I know you're arguing for consistency, but that just sounds crazy.
Do you just like so do blind and deaf people have extra privileges to be in some place that are not supposed to?
Well, again, but based on the initial premise, you said that they were one was invited in.
Yeah, and how do you do? I mean, what you're saying is just because they're blind and deaf, you're not allowed to forcibly remove them.
Well, just for clarification, to answer your question, based on your logic, yes, but just so we could rehash this to make it understanding, you guide said person into home that's blind and deaf. Okay, this would be a better analogy. Okay, you hold the person's hand, you guide them in your home,
and you're trying to guide them out, and they refuse to leave. They're holding on to things.
And you go, no. You kill them?
Yes. Yeah. You can make them leave.
This doesn't make a.
What can you tell me why you shouldn't be able to?
Yeah, sure. Because I mean, you would have to prove that your life is at risk.
No, you don't.
Well, wouldn't that be self-defense?
Yeah, you don't have to prove it though.
Also, two men can discuss AB. It's perfectly fine for us to discuss this.
Actually, I think it's dystopian as fuck. And if there's a woman that wants to come up and join us, you're welcome to.
Well, no. Of course, a woman could be involved. They should be. I'm saying, but two men can still have the conversation. It's not dystopian.
It's dystopian. We're talking about a whole class of people that doesn't involve us and their rights. Yeah, it's dystopian.
I mean, I guess you could. I mean, I can still hold my position, and I don't have to be a woman to hold this position. I mean, I can hold it. So, I don't know.
The fact that you don't even know the viability of a fetus, like at how many weeks?
20 to 24.
Possible?
20 to 24.
No. 21 weeks is the earliest a baby has ever been born and survived. There's 2 in the world that it's happened to, and they are extremely unhealthy. But viability is considered 24 weeks. But the fact that you originally said that it was 18 weeks when you started your argument shows how much you should not have a say in anything that has to do with women's reproductive rights, because you don't even know what you're talking about.
Well, no, I said to Pickles, feel free to fact check me. I said I'm not 100% positive, but I have heard the.
Then you shouldn't even open your mouth on the whole situation. Don't say, I think it's this, but fact check me. That's just saying, I'm going to lie and maybe you're going to check me on it or not. You shouldn't have an opinion until you know the facts. Like, you should not have evolved an opinion on anything to do with this if you don't even know the basis of the facts to do with viability. You understand that?
I understand what you're saying, but what I said is that there was a case of a baby that was born like 19 weeks early.
No, the earliest baby to ever be born and live was 21 weeks.
Correct. I must have mixed up when they were 19 weeks early, so I mixed it up. So I wasn't wrong. I just mixed up the time. So they were 19 weeks early. Did they teacup?
I'll give it to you. That's fine. But, once again, you're a man. You should not be making decisions for women's bodies.
I'm not making decisions for women's bodies.
Are you pro-life?
I think that if a woman wants to have an abortion, they should be able to. Do I agree with it? No, it's a woman's body.
Then why would you say that you're stuck with voting for Trump? Because he he essentially gave the states the power to override people's decisions for their own health care. And what state was it that just recently the Supreme Court overturned the ballot initiative that the whole state voted on in favor of protecting women's right to abortion? The Supreme Court overturned it. So like, if anything, he's just given like very few people power over many people.
Okay, no,
He just passed the buck to take it off of himself. Because can you imagine how many people have had Yeetus fetus because of Trump and his allies?
Missouri, yeah.
He has been, I think, half the genetics of many a Yeetus's fetuses.
Yeah, I'm sure he had to easily, yeah. In fact, he's probably been inside of many of fetuses.
Yeah, I guess the point I was trying to make is that obviously politics isn't black and white. I mean, people vote for different reasons. I mean, calling someone evil shuts down the conversation. I mean, it makes it impossible to understand each other. And do you agree that politics aren't just black and white?
Very few things in the world are black and white.
Okay, so I mean, I don't agree with everything that Trump did or said. I actually most certainly don't agree with the majority of the things, but I vote based on what I believe are the most important issues and values for me.
How can you say that you don't agree with the majority of what he says and does, but you voted for him?
If
you don't agree with the majority?
Can I ask you your logic behind this? If Schittler was the only candidate to be pro-life, would you vote for him?
Sorry, I got a phone call. What was that, man?
If Schittler was the only candidate to be pro-life in a political race in the future, would you vote for him?
I mean, there's an issue here. That's not really a fair comparison. Trump isn't Hitler, and I didn't vote for him because I support everything he said or did.
I'm just asking how far it goes, right? So, like, you would vote against like the greater good of our economy and our political landscape and like democracy, and for people to be able to vote, and for like the Constitution and like the continuation of the country and its rule of law. Like, you're voting against all of those things so that a bunch of multicellular organisms can live in people's stomachs.
Well, no. You're setting a trap. You're asking. Sorry. I mean, you're setting like a moral trap here. I mean, you're basically asking me to justify my vote by comparing it to supporting literal genocide. That's not a real argument.
I know. Yeah, you're saying I don't care how bad everything else is. I gotcha because I'm pro-life.
I mean, if you just keep, wait. I'm not saying that. I'm saying if you want to talk seriously, we can stick to real world choices and policies.
Hold on. Jennifer and Jason in the chat for the $200 donation. We miss you. Welcome back. Get some ice cream. You're awesome, by the way. Stay pickled. Thank you so much, Jennifer and Jason in the chat. Jesus tap dancing Christ. That is amazing.
Okay, I'm gonna check out in a second here because I just came in to correct the weeks thing. But I just want to ask Richie, do you actually think that Trump is pro-life, and do you think that Trump and everyone that he kind of hangs with that all say that they're pro-life, do you actually believe that they have never taken part or had a say or forced someone to get or anything to do with fetusy? Like, do you actually believe that he has never had a mistress or a girlfriend or maybe one of his daughters? He has never had any part in that being done?
You guys, I'll be right back. Just a minute.
Anyways, I can leave and let him answer that. I don't know that he actually will, but
thank you so much for
coming. I find it very hard to believe that he wouldn't have.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Hey, thank you.
Okay, actually, I don't know how to leave.
I got you.
Thanks.
If another woman wants to come up and talk about this, you're more than welcome to hop up. But yeah, I still think this is stupid. I hold the same stance for like people in 2A. They're like, as long as I get to keep my pew-pews, I don't care how bad these politicians are for the economy. I don't care how corrupt they are. I want my pew-pews. I don't care how regressive they are or how anti-constitutional or corrupt or how many $400 million jets they want or how many people they want to grab by the kitty. I want my pew-pews. I don't care. I feel like it's horrible. And they've tested the bounds of this for decades now. for decades. They're like, you know what? I wonder if we can just tell them that the other side wants to take their pew-pews and we can get away with fucking up the entire economy and taking all of their tax money. That's essentially what I feel like they're doing.
Hey, Pickles, my son has got off the bus a little bit early. I have to get going, man.
All right, girl. Chat, tap the screen. Let's get to 50K. If you enjoy debates, give me a follow. If you want to call in, come over to TikTok or wait until I put the phone number on the screen, and I'll be able to talk to you then. Bro, are you literally on your Jixer right now? Bro, are you literally on your... He is, dude. Oh my god. Chat, if you want to debate, hop in the box. Come tell me why you like Trump. Jamie with 12 months of subscription as well. Holy shit. Guys, I don't think I saw enough of these. I didn't see enough of these. Jen and Jason donated 200 goddamn dollars. How's the puppy? Pickles is good. I'm dog sitting my girlfriend's dogs, and my dog is over there at her place right now. Florida estate makeover says nothing in the Constitution says you cannot run a third term. It says you cannot run 3 terms consecutively. Guys, if you've ever seen a 30-second fact check, you're about to see one. You're about to see one. A president can run for a third term according to the United States Constitution. The 22nd Amendment to the Constitution, ratified in 1951, explicitly limits the number of times a person can be elected to presidency. Here's the relevant quote. No person shall be elected to office of president more than twice. It's right there. Imagine if Republicans could read. Lori with $25. Thank you so much, Lori. I love you. He also was ineligible to serve as vice president. Thank you, Heisenberg. Hello?
Real quick, just was going to say welcome back. And if there's some people who are still missing their subscription, I'm willing to do a few more today if people want to message me.
Oh, yeah.
I only want to give it to the good ones, though. It's hard to pick out in the random likes and random subs to others. So anyways, that's it. You can kick me.
Oh my God. W Trish is in the chat. Guys.
Have a good live.
You too. Love you, Trish. Thank you so much. Guys, message Trish if you want a subscription. We're almost at 50,000 likes, by the way, guys. Thank y'all so much. Can't we remove that amendment? Guys, there's a process for removing amendments, and it's not an executive order like Trump is doing. It's 2/3 votes from all the states. It's not just speaking it into non-existence. Who would I like the most as president? I really like Pete Buttigieg. I really would. No quarter with 12 months renewal. What the guys, I love y'all back. Stop it. Pete Buttigieg. Pete Buttigieg. What's up, Michael? Where have you been, bro? Pete Buttigieg is the balls or the bee's knees, the cat's pajamas. He is awesome. In every room he walks into, he's the smartest person in the room. I already answered your question, the legend. Listening skills. The bike guy. The guy that bikes to work. Pete is our white Obama. K-Law, you said that, dude, not me. The guy who never visited Ohio. Dude, you guys are insane. You guys are insane. Republicans only care about photo ops. They only care. They don't actually, do not ever let them tell you that they care about the actual, like, cause behind some of the things they're saying. Like, thank God Trump visited, like, Georgia after he got hit with a hurricane. Thank God he did that. But now that he's in office, he's literally denying FEMA like funds to like North Carolina, and it is actually a few other red states as well. He's denying actual funds for disaster relief. You don't give a fuck about that. You want him to go take a picture. You don't actually care about those things. Let's see. Did he actually start sending aid to North Carolina? He finally did it 3 days ago. Yeah, Biden, MAGA still believes that Biden is only doing $750. That was Biden. That was a Biden thing. He did it 3 days, 2 days ago. What's going on? Didn't Biden have people on the ground, like waiting by the phone, like the night before storms happened? And Trump's like weeks late. Public pressure, yeah. Didn't a court tell him he had to send the money? Let's see. 5 days ago, this is what the news was. Trump administration denies North Carolina request for Hurricane Helene relief at level Biden approved.
You know, sometimes my
Stop
life
it.
could be a little crazy.
Match 100% of the funds the state puts in the share cost, disaster cleanup, Hurricane Helene. 230 people unalived. He doesn't like the dim governor of North Carolina. Trump's like playing politics with everyone's lives. It's so gross, dude. He's not helping St. Louis. Missouri's a red state. After deadly tornadoes, St. Louis, FEMA help is hard to find. Trump's making people wait for FEMA. Oh. Trump's FEMA still hasn't helped. Tornado recovery, FEMA hasn't provided assistance on the ground. Days after devastating tornado caused more than $1 billion in damage. They had no warning because, yeah, Trump gutted NOAA. If y'all don't know what NOAA is. His golf game's still on schedule. Let's check Trump's golf game, dude. How's his golf game, guys? The 24th, 25th, and 26th. 3 days in a row. That's a Tuesday, Wednesday, and a Thursday. Golfed all day. Love to see it. Then the 18th, which was a Wednesday. Where's the outcry for him not helping Missouri? Who knows, guys? They're not consistent. They don't care, dude. Imagine if Biden golfed while people were dying and there was a disaster area in like 3 different states. Imagine if Biden did that. Trump would be slobbering, spitting over a mic, causing chaos, telling everybody how bad and disastrous the Joe Biden presidency was. That's an active man. Days in office, 133. Days spent golfing, 33. 24% of his time in office this time around. The first 100 days, mind you. It's not like a year in, he starts to relax. He's got things going and running smooth. No, this is right off the bat, 1/4 of his presidency golfing. Love to see it. Love to see it, guys. He went to golfing the day after the inauguration. Did he really? Let's see. The 26th. Another interesting stat that I've heard recently is that out of his daily intelligence briefings, out of 133 days, Trump has only attended 12 intelligence briefings. I think it's Axios that came out with it. And they're talking about bringing in like a Fox News type system to give him his daily briefings because he has the attention span of a 4-year-old. Here's Politico. Trump has only sat for 12 daily intelligence briefings since taking office. And we can see this because his what's it called? His calendar is public. And it's a significant drop from his first term, which they criticized the actual fuck out of him for barely doing it at all in the first place. People came out and wrote books about this, guys. It's sadly clear that the president doesn't value the expertise of and the dangerous work performed by our intelligence professionals each and every day, and unfortunately, it leaves the American people increasingly vulnerable to threats we ought to see coming. Senator Mark Warner, Democrat of Virginia, top Democrat at Senate Intelligence Committee, said in a statement in Politico, the sporadic pace of briefings comes as Trump has been working. Imagine being like saying no new wars, like I'm the guy that kept everyone in check. How could you possibly convince the world of that if you're not actually like informed on any of this? How are you actually convincing the world that you're the guy keeping the world in check? We don't know fucking anything that's going on. Trump received 2 in-person PvP meetings per month in January, February, and March before settling to a more regular rhythm once per week in April and May, according to the president's daily schedule maintained by Facebase, a website that collates president's statements as well as his public calendar. The point of having an $80 billion intelligence service is to inform the president to avert a strategic surprise. Imagine having $80 billion of intelligence and taking it in once a week. That's 52 times a year. That's 52 meetings for $80 billion. $80 billion for 52 meetings? And Trump probably retains like 1% of it. What's up, guys? He's angry he wasn't briefed on Taco, probably. President George Bush saw briefers from the intelligence community almost every day and preferred hearing directly from analysts. Obama was studious reader of PBB book itself. We know Trump doesn't do that. We know Trump doesn't read. What up, Tic Tac? Felice Raid, welcome back. Welcome, Felice people. We love Felice. Felice kept getting violation warnings. Damn. Biden was no regular read to the PDB briefing book. The former intelligence officer official said, a former official who served in Biden's National Security Council said the president would use the delivery of the book as an opportunity to gather his top national security aides, discuss his contents, foreign policy implications. Trump read little of his daily intelligence briefings. Who was it that came out and said this, that Trump doesn't read his intelligence briefings, his daily briefings? And that they had to like resort to pictures and stuff, like, and squeeze it down to one page. Bob Woodward. Biden was 20 times the president Trump would ever be. I agree. Miles Taylor said that. Michael Bolton. Michael Bolton. Bolton. What's his name? Bolton, not Michael Bolton. That's an artist. Huckabee Sanders did not say that about him. John Bolton, thank you. John Bolton. He plays a sweet saxophone. Biden is half robot.
That was John Bolton.
Oh, thank you. I want to read
John Bolton. He's the guy that he was talking one day and he slipped up and he says he literally admitted to performing coups throughout the world. He's like, I know a thing about two or about coups. You know, I've done a few. And he kind of stopped and realized what the fuck he just said. It was wild, dude. Yeah, it was wild, man. Hey, I thought I'd come up and do some news. Have you heard about all the shit that's going on? You've been away
Probably
for a
not.
minute.
Give it to me.
Well, you heard about the Joe Biden's a robot, right? They've cloned him.
That's what I'm looking at right here.
It's fucking. That's real, dude. That's real. He said that. That's some cute conspiracy shit. So he reposted something that's saying literally Joe Biden was unalived in 2020 by like a Lee Harvey Oswald kind of person, and it was he's been cloned and robots have been pretending. And the guy that he reposted this, the dude has like 5,000 or 6,000 followers.
Yeah.
He reposted this to 20 million people. He amplified somebody with 5,000 followers to say this nonsense. So, have you heard about what happened in the last couple days in San Diego with the protests out there?
No. Let me in.
So, ICE has been targeting specific businesses in San Diego. Like, there's just the I don't know, it's not the downtown, but kind of the artsy areas people go and hang out. There's some pretty popular restaurants down there, and ICE is coming through and targeting these specific restaurants. And the people in the neighborhoods are coming out in droves and driving ICE away. They're literally like making them retreat to the point where ICE is starting to throw concussion grenades and smoke grenades into the crowds to disperse them. It happened yesterday and the day before. I have not checked on it today to see if it's still happening. But yeah, there's quite a bit going on in San Diego right now.
Holy shit. Concussion grenades. Ugh, that's a hard word. Tomorrow's a hard word for me. Or yesterday's a hard word for me. Hold on. I can't find my my guest box. There we go. Just gotta make sure it's on top.
I'm watching. We don't have anybody in queue. Flashbangs. Yeah.
Why don't I address Biden's attendance in office? I'm sure I can. I'm sure we can compare the two.
Addresses what?
His attendance.
Oh. But I don't.
if Trump's attendance is like 25% on the golf course, if Biden is on the beach less than 1/4 of his presidency, it's pretty easy to beat. I'm gonna guess that he beat that. That he's if it's like 2 out of 7 days, 1 out of 7 days. He
So
definitely
people like
wasn't
to talk a
golfing.
lot of shit about.
He wasn't golfing the day before
sorry.
hurricanes and tornadoes. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's another. So people like to talk a lot of shit about Donald Trump and his golfing, and if you take a look at it, it's right about 25-30%. And if you like the one thing you can say is, yeah, he did do this at inappropriate times, like during the wildfires in California, instead of actually, but whatever. That's beside the point. If you take a look at everybody, like the working class American, around 1/3 of their day is spent at work. 1/3 of their day is spent as rest, and then 1/3 of their day is spent as sleep. That's typically what capitalism does to us. So Trump isn't going outside of that 1/3 of his work week is dedicated to leisure, because that's literally how it's set up. But you're absolutely right. Like when you're the president of the United States, you should be putting in a little bit more. You should also, yeah, exactly. We aren't president. Exactly. You should be putting in a little bit more, and the time frame on what you're doing the golf excursions is kind of
First
shady.
100 days is wild. Like a year in,
Yeah.
let your hair down. If things are calm, let your hair but this is the first 100 days. Things are chaos. Remember when he put the tariffs up and the world's like ensued into chaos, and he went golfing like for 3 days. It's like, well, I'm golfing.
He did too. He's all Liberation Day, and then he goes golfing. Shit, man! I had another one for you. Where was it? Oh, do you know who Patty McCory is?
No.
Patty McCory is a UFC fighter. He's a Irish,
yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, his name's Patty. He's an Irish fighter, and over the weekend he fought another UFC member that was part of the IDF.
Oh, nice.
He was an ex-IDF soldier. Patty beat the crap out of this guy, jumped on top of him, smashed him in the face, and as he's smashing him in the face, he's screaming, "Free Palestine! Free Palestine! Free!"
Debbie Patties?
You got to check it out.
Debbie Patty?
You got to check it out. Yeah. It was pretty badass, man.
That gave me chills.
It was
guys.
it was
I
it
got
was
chills.
unexpected. It was pretty interesting. So did you hear about the speaking of Israel? Did you hear about the attack on the Israeli protesters? Or they weren't protesting Israel; they were bringing awareness to the Israeli hostages within a protest or a.
Yeah, I would condemn that.
They were bringing recognition.
Like
100%.
It was like an old lady and then a young kid were involved. Bad stuff.
Yeah,
Bad stuff.
100%. Donald Trump actually came out with a tweet about it, or a truth about it, I guess. Let me pull it up real quick. He says, yesterday's horrific attack in Boulder, Colorado will not be tolerated in the United States of America. I'm emphasizing the parts he capitalizes. He came in through Biden's ridiculous open border policy, which has hurt our country so bad. He came in through a B2 visa. It wasn't Biden's open border policy. He literally came in through a B2 visa. So he's calling this acts of terrorism, prosecuted to the fullest. He's trying to emphasize the importance of closing the borders and deporting all illegal anti-American radicals from our homeland. The reason why I'm pointing this out is because he's going to use this as an excuse to continue to deport people who are protesting.
Yeah.
On the other side, so like everybody's condemning you. What happened was fucked. You don't do that to people. These are human beings. But I'm just foreshadowing. He's going to use this to deport and fuck with people who are here legally, students, just very similar to what he's doing with Harvard right now. Oh, B2 tourist visa. Sorry, he came in as a tourist visa.
Woof. Yeah,
Woof.
he's gotta take everything and make it as polarizing as possible. Remember when the helicopter plane, the helicopter and the plane collided, and before Trump knew anything, it was about DEI.
Yeah, call it DI. Holy shit, Dr. Dutch is here. We love Dutch. Oh, hell Dutch. Sorry, had to do that.
Nice.
Yeah, man, that's his first thing. It's his first go-to. Let's attack marginalized communities.
I'm joining.
I just got plain friggin'
I'm in.
gray and black. Yeah, it's plain gray.
Yo,
and
what's
black.
up?
What do you mean, like Halloween pumpkin jack-o'-lantern?
Yeah, Halloween pumpkin.
I don't
jack-o'-lantern.
ever seen those on you.
No, what?
I have a feeling this isn't going to be a productive conversation.
I don't even think they're.
He knows he's in. Thanks, Dutch. Dutch is my hero. Oh my God! Speaking of heroes.
No, I don't
Oh my
Hey,
God! Oh my
guys.
God!
Hey.
I didn't go in the water. I didn't
Hey,
run
why did you
into
mute
the
me?
shore, maybe?
Yeah, you had a lot of
You're
you had a
loud.
lot of chitter. You had a lot of chatter coming through. Are you a Trump supporter?
Yeah, dude, I grabbed
My bad.
burger.
Yeah, I am a Trump supporter. So why does he suck?
You've got somebody in the background. Do you mind helping me out with that?
It's just my boy. But why does Trump suck?
Trump is an actual disaster in terms of like policy, economic policy. He's openly corrupt as fuck. He's horrible in every sense of the word. What do you like about Trump?
What policies does it suck?
Yeah, his tariffs are an actual disaster.
But the tariffs are actually a good thing
Okay. How are the tariffs a good thing?
because he's trying to, equalize everything. Everything was shitty under Biden, and then now he's trying to equalize it.
In what way? What is he equalizing, bro?
Stock markets are booming. Everything is.
I think you're getting off track here. The tariffs. What are the tariffs equalizing?
The stock market.
The tariffs are that's the purpose of the tariffs, is to equalize the stock market, meaning make it go down?
Nope. Stock market's booming right now.
Isn't it still below where we started at 44,000?
No, not at all. XRP is up.
Okay, but still, you think that it just so happens that when you remove his tariffs, the stock market performs well, and when you add them, the stock market
When the
goes
tariffs
down?
weren't in place and Biden was in, the stock market was crashing
What are
dramatically.
you talking about? When?
What do you mean when?
Yeah,
When
when
he
was
was
the
in
stock market
presidency.
crashing?
When Mr. Biden was in office.
We're still below 44,000. We're at 42,000 on Dow Jones. We are still not even where we left Trump. Where Biden handed off the stock market to Trump, it's still not there. It's still not back to where it was.
You gotta be patient, bro.
Okay, it still proves that it even proves more so that when you remove Trump's policies, the stock market seems to like do better.
The stock market is gonna do better, and it is already.
Ace Ventura super chatted $5. Can you slap that man for saying that the stock market is booming?
Did you hear that?
Yo. No, I didn't.
Hey,
I
man,
just
is
got
that
a
the
super
wind
chat
blowing
for
between your
$5. Can
ears?
you slap that man for saying the stock market's booming?
Yo, Tic Tac. I want you to be quiet and stop laughing. Thank you. Laugh one more time. Yep.
Dude, I'm
Good boy.
still,
Hey,
I'm
man,
still,
you want to see how fast I could kick you?
Do you want to substantiate how the tariffs are good again? Because all you've cited is the stock market, which is still down from when Biden handed him the economy.
Hey, why did you mute me again?
Do you want to debate, or?
That's what I'm
You
trying to
good.
do, and I just get muted though.
Yeah, you're talking shit to the guy who's mute powers. Do you want to debate?
I didn't mute him.
I'm ready.
Why do
Give
you
me-
like Trump's tariffs?
I love Trump's tariffs
Okay, tell me why.
because it's equaling everything.
It's equaling everything.
Literally. It's literally equaling everything.
Do you want to be serious?
Let's be serious. First of all, do you agree that ICE? Do you agree with ICE when they're taking out all the illegals from America? Do you agree with ICE? Do you like it?
I think that there's nuance here, right? So Biden and Obama, they did plenty of deportations with ICE, and they didn't have to like subvert constitutional law and go against like judge injunctions, like federal judge injunctions. They didn't have to like invoke wartime laws to do these things. They didn't have to like skip due process to do these things. They just deported people. It turns out that there's so few people here that Trump can't find any to deport. He has to break the law to find people.
There's so few people, but like there's so many videos and they're all going viral and shit. There's a lot of people getting deported right now.
It's way fewer than Biden.
Way fewer.
Yeah, Biden deported month by month more, to the tune of like 26,000 per month.
How come it wasn't, you know, like on social media platforms and everywhere? Like we didn't really know. It was just
So
on an article.
what you're citing is why wasn't I being fed propaganda? Like, do you know that like a video doesn't tell you how many people were deported?
Well, do you watch the news?
I don't get spoon-fed news by anchors. No.
Well, then how do you know then?
I read my news.
Where? What news?
I get news from all over the internet.
So what article or what piece of evidence do you go on and search for?
I don't use the news for that. You can just look that up at cbp.gov. You don't need the news to tell me deportations.
Okay. So you just read articles about Biden deporting more people than Trump?
No, I just read the numbers themselves.
So you read, okay, yeah. So you read the numbers, but then you don't look at the proof, like, you know, the videos of Trump deporting all of everyone.
Nigger.
Yo, chill.
All right.
There's no chill. That's a block.
Okay. Primary sources, people. Primary sources. They're like, how come I didn't see any good propaganda about this? How come I didn't see, like, would like if we circulated a bunch of videos of brown people coming over or leaving, would that be sufficient for you? Would that make it believable? Did you count them individually? Did you count how many people were in those videos? Like how low
I should
information
do
are
that.
we,
I should
dude?
go to the border, and just because people cross and they go back and forth all day long, right? I should just sit on this side of the border and take videos of people crossing, going back into Mexico. Be like, everybody's leaving. There's nothing to worry about. Crisis is averted. And just start the rumor. We saw the video.
Yeah, that guy just spammed the N-word chat. That's why we had to boot him. Chat, tap the screen. Let's go. Oh my God. Thank you guys for 100,000. If you enjoy these debates, give me a follow. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to give me a thumbs up, yo.
Hey man, I want to talk to you about YouTube and TikTok Studio and editing.
Uh-huh.
I want to pick your brain. I'll do it when you've got time. I should have done it while you were off, honestly.
Is this for Tommy?
No, it's for me.
Oh.
I'm not going to start hosting. I just want to get into editing. We'll see what happens.
Ooh.
Anyway, I wanted to tell you. So, big news today. I don't know if you follow Jackie and Shadow. Does anybody? Do you have any idea? Sonny and Gizmo?
Bacon super chatted $5. Large lack of bias in here. I'm kinda pissed. We need more propaganda.
Thank you, Bacon. Sorry, what were you saying?
Jackie and Shadow. They're two bald eagles. They're American bald eagles. They live in Big Bear, California.
Yeah.
They had 3 eaglets a few weeks ago. There was a big storm, and one of the eaglets was lost. The 2 other eaglets, they have survived, and they're now fucking eagles. They're not even eaglets anymore. They're eagles. Today, Sonny fledged from the nest for the first time ever. It was pretty awesome. It was one of those. It was at 10:45 this morning. You guys can go to, anybody want to check out the YouTube. It's Big Bear, Friends of Big Bear. You can watch camera 1, and it's always going, so you can scroll back. And at 10:45 this morning, Sonny just got it in her head and just started flapping away and jumped out of the tree and flew away. Now she'll probably come back. That's yeah, they're already doing it. They fledged really quick. And now Gizmo has now gone up. It's called the attic. There's parts of the tree. There's a front porch, a back porch, an attic, and that's where the eagles sit. Gizmo's now gone up to the attic and done a bunch of flaps. So she'll probably be fledging in the next few days. Big news. I honestly didn't think I was emotionally ready for this. I'm taking it all right. I've been all right. It was kind of sad. I was kind of sad, but
This
it was
is-
good. It was
This
happy.
is
sad.
giving the Anchorman like panda coverage.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch that now.
All right, I think I'm gonna turn on the. Oh, I think this
We got
is
somebody in here?
friendly. This is a friendly.
Okay. Oh yeah. They said what's up to me earlier.
Oh, it was an accident.
Nope.
Okay, I'm gonna turn on the phone line. I'm gonna turn on the phone line. There's some
All right.
people just hurting to come in, so I'm gonna turn on the phone line.
All right. I got more news if nobody comes up.
All
Other
right.
than that, I'll bounce out, man.
All right, bub. Appreciate you.
All right, dude. We'll talk to you later. Bye.
All right. Chat, the phone line is now on. If you want to call and tell me why you like Trump, there you go. Is it parasocial to bond with an eagle? Maybe. I think it's allowed. Yellow, is this a Trump supporter?
It sure is.
All right, what do you like about Trump?
Well, I guess one of the best things I like about him, and a lot of people disagree, and I can understand if you do, because maybe you don't understand, is that he's a step in the right direction of getting us back to Christianity, which I think is very important.
Getting us back to Christianity.
Yeah, America is a Christian nation, and I think it's vitally important that we get back to more God and less government.
Well, I think that's a silly non sequitur. So, like, less government is very, I don't know, a very abstract thing to say, because Trump is definitely doing more government. While we may have like less government entities, less federal entities, he's definitely overstepping and abusing his power in every way he can find. So I think
Yeah,
that
but I want to defund all that.
you want to
That's why I said I know
defund it.
Trump's not perfect. Yeah, I want to defund all that.
Okay, the funding doesn't do anything when Trump is the executive and he's doing this all by himself.
Well, if they don't have any money, though, right?
You like, he's defunding Harvard. He's putting law
That's
firms
perfect,
out of
great.
business.
Why is Harvard getting federal money?
Because they're the forefront of science. Every country who has like people.
I don't wait. What? They're an Ivy League school that's like $250,000 a semester to go to.
Yeah.
And I'm paying people. I'm
Yes.
paying for
So,
their school.
Yes, you're not paying
That
for their
sounds
school.
very-
I guess you don't know what they're paying for when we're talking about $2 billion. But in every
Did they
country,
get $2 billion? Holy
Yes.
cow! My kid's school here locally needs a new roof, and you're telling me Harvard gets $2 billion?
well, maybe you should talk to Trump about not defunding the Department of Education.
Well, I mean,
Oops.
they're giving it to Harvard. You just said they're giving
Okay,
it. Maybe he
so
can defund Harvard and give
department-
it back to the state.
Department of Education was
But you're
200.
talking about from the federal.
Okay, stop. Department of Education was $260 billion that Trump pulled from all of
Holy
our public
shnikes.
schools.
The
Yes.
federal Department of Education
Mhm.
is two. Did you
Yes.
say billion with a B?
With a B, yes, that could have paid for your roof.
Holy.
Now Trump
That
is
is a ridiculous amount of money. Why do they need so much money?
okay because
Aren't we ranked like 150th in the
Yeah.
world for education?
yeah, and let me guess,
Aren't
yours.
we?
You're being
don't
loud.
Most of
You're
our
being
cities-
belligerent.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You're being
You're
loud and
right, I'm
belligerent.
sorry.
Okay, so
I'm sorry.
what state are you in?
I'm in Ohio.
Okay, I'm gonna guess that the federal government was paying for about 20% of your education system in Ohio. If it's
And I don't
roundabout what
want
I
them
think.
to.
You don't want them
I
to.
don't
So
want them to.
in
No.
order to
I
make
want the states to
education
pay for it.
better in your state, you want to
Uh-huh.
remove money from it. That's what you're saying?
I want to remove the federal government from it, correct. And if
Why-
that means
what are your motives
removing the
from that?
money, then I'm fine with that.
What are your motives for that?
What do you mean?
Removing the federal government.
I want the states to control it.
Okay, they weren't controlling it. They were just giving you the money.
Okay, stop taxing me that money so
They're
that I
not
can
gonna
give
stop-
it to my state.
They're not going to stop taxing you. So the federal government will continue
Well, that's
taxing
the
you
idea
the same
behind
rate.
the tariffs. You
No.
understand it's the idea behind the tariffs.
All right.
Right?
You're obfuscating. What I'm saying is they're still taxing
No,
you.
that's the end. The end federal taxes is the point of the tariffs. Trump's
Okay,
already said that.
well,
He's
you're
mimicking
going to
what
be
they
paying-
did back in the 1840s or the 1850s.
Yeah, before we had a $1 trillion military budget, before we had roads and stuff. Yeah, sure.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
But yes,
Well,
you're
states
removing.
can pay for that, right? Isn't that what the road tax is
your
for?
taxes.
Isn't road tax to pay
your-
for roads?
Excuse me. Your taxes
Yeah.
are not going to be reduced because Trump took away money from your schools.
How do you know? It's only been 4 months. He
Because I
reduced
can-
my taxes last time he was in office, bro, by like by a ton. So
Okay,
much so that
you're
Biden
screaming.
continued those tax breaks. You
You're
understand?
screaming.
Biden continued those tax because bro, you
screaming.
just go on these nonsense tangent like
You're screaming.
rants about absolutely nothing for some reason.
You've derailed this conversation like 3 times now. Now we're going to talk about
No,
taxes.
no, I haven't. Okay, let's get back to America being a Christian nation. Okay, would you like me to prove to you that it is?
Okay, here's going to be my contention with that. There's nowhere in our Constitution that says that we're Christian. It refers to a God. Most of the founding fathers were deists, not Christian.
Okay.
And the letter of Tripoli also states that they wanted a separation of church and state.
Would you agree that the Supreme Court interprets the laws and says basically what it all is, right? They're the ones who interpret all that. They interpret the Constitution, and what they say goes. Do you agree with that?
They interpret laws and make sure. Yes. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Cool. So can you Google Church of Holy Trinity v. United States? It was an
Okay.
1892 ruling by the Supreme Court, and in it the judge states America is a Christian nation. You can, in fact, you can bring up the Wikipedia. I don't usually suggest
So
using
one
Wikipedia.
judge in 1892 says that we're a
No,
Christian
it's
nation.
the Supreme Court.
That's your gotcha.
It's the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court.
So the Supreme Court says it once in 1892.
Yeah, because after the Supreme Court rules, a judge writes a document about it and says this is what happened.
So and
So the
that's your proof that we're a Christian nation.
That's the Supreme Court, right?
Yeah. So the Supreme Court at one point in
So
time
the
said this
Supreme
once.
Court so the Supreme Court read the Constitution, read all of these documents, and their interpretation is America is a Christian nation. So I have case law. So if I were to go in front of a judge, I have case law that states America is a Christian nation. You understand that?
You have case
Do you know what
law to
case
say that
law
this is a
is?
Christian nation. Yes, I know what a case law is.
Do you know what case law is?
Yes, I know what case law is.
Okay, so people reference rulings from the Supreme Court as case law, right?
Yes.
So I would have case law stating that America is now. I would like you to say real quick to me, but the First Amendment says Congress this, Congress that. Can you say that to me real quick?
Yeah, the very first thing that our founding fathers wrote
Perfect.
down was that Congress shall pass no law.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Supreme Court isn't Congress, right?
Yeah, so the Supreme Court doesn't
Supreme
pass
Court
laws.
isn't Congress, right? They're a completely different branch of the government, correct?
So you found a loophole.
Separate. No,
Nice.
it's not a loophole. The Supreme Court interprets it.
The Supreme
Congress
Court
makes
interpreted.
law. Congress
So-
makes law, okay, and the Supreme Court interprets it. So unless you can give me some law or some court case that will not law, but some court case that would override the Supreme Court, but you're not going to find it because it doesn't
Yeah.
exist.
So what we can do is I can just say, what if in a few years we get a few more liberal judges in the Supreme Court, and they say that
So that's different. That's
I'm
how
sorry?
it works. I
I'm
agree,
sorry?
brother. I
And
agree
then
100%.
they
That's how it
say
works.
that, and then
But
they
you
say
don't have that right now. But you
Okay.
don't have that right now, right?
you are extremely emotional and steamrolling here. I want you to
But you
recognize.
But you don't have that right now, right? Would
Okay,
you concede
I'm
then?
also-
Would you just concede it?
I'm not conceding anything until I check this right now, which is what I'm doing.
Okay. Okay. There's a section on the Wikipedia that specifically states America is a Christian nation. Now, some of your liberal websites, okay, are going to say, well, judges contest this and judges have reviewed it, blah, 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 blah. But the Supreme Court is the law of the land. The Supreme Court trumps all of these other judges that, in their own opinion, it doesn't mean this, but it 100%, the judge says clear as day, America is a Christian nation.
Okay, these are not individual sayings, declarations of private persons. They are organic utterances. They speak the voice of the entire people. This is a Christian nation.
Boom,
Okay, so this isn't his ruling.
dude. The
This isn't
Supreme
his
Court
ruling.
ruled, and I don't know what the word is for it. Okay, but
The
like
court case was
like
not
when the
about
Supreme-
religion either. This was not the ruling. This is not case law. You're a fourth grader.
Bro,
You're a fourth grader
bro,
in terms
what
of
does it say? What does it
comprehension here.
say? What does it
Okay,
say?
the legal holding of the case was not about religion. The court simply ruled that the Alien Contract Labor Act didn't apply to foreign pastor hired by a church. The
Well,
Christian nation language
okay.
is considered judicial dicta, influential but not legally binding. Oops. Okay, so you're wrong.
Wait, what? Wait, so they're saying that Supreme Court case law is
That's not case law.
binding?
It's not case law.
It
A
is
judge's
case law. It's called
okay.
It's
you know what-
Church of Holy Trinity v. United States.
No, you're
The
citing a
ruling is from
case. You're citing a case.
1892.
Okay, so but do you know what the difference is between a Supreme Court justice's ruling and a
So here,
simply
let me read this part of it.
an opinion?
Okay. Do say that again.
Do you know what the difference is between a Supreme Court judge's opinion and a ruling?
I do.
Okay, was this an opinion or a ruling?
A dissent, for instance, is when a judge says, you know what, I don't agree with this, right? And a ruling is when the judge says, this is how it is. So in the ruling, the judge that wrote it, because at the end, you know how the Supreme Court works, right? They vote on it, and then they get one judge who agreed or disagreed to write the document for it. I can't think of what the document's called. It's really slipping my brain right now. I do apologize.
So
but that's how it
I'm
works.
still it still stands
And
that
in
this was not the
in
ruling.
this-
This
Huh?
is not the ruling. This is not the
It
ruling.
is, bro.
The
This
case
is
did
the-
not rule that this is a Christian nation. That was not the ruling of this case.
Bro, one of the I'm not watching your channel right now, but I hope you have the Wikipedia brought up. It literally says in one of the bullet points, Christian nation. And then if you read in there, in what the judge said, he says several times that this is a Christian nation. Okay, now if you don't want to believe the Supreme Court, that's fine. I can give you another founding document of this country, which states that this land is for Jesus Christ. Have you ever heard of the Mayflower Compact? They used to teach this in school. Did you ever learn about the Mayflower Compact?
Tell me about it. It sounds like it's before the founding of our nation, right? If it's Mayflower Compact.
Well, the Americas existed.
So this
Virginia
is
existed
before
at
the
this-
founding of the United States of America.
It was.
Oops.
You could say
okay,
it was.
so it's irrelevant.
Okay, but this is what they stated, was that this land was going to be created for Jesus Christ. Okay. Well, you can say it doesn't matter. You can say that, but the Supreme Court, in their reviewing of this case, reference this document. If you look it up, you could say
Okay,
it doesn't
I'm
matter.
looking at
but
it right
again,
now.
I have case law on my side. Do you have anything?
This is not case
else?
law. This is not case law.
This is case
you are
law.
hugely misunderstanding what case law means. Just because a judge said
Okay,
this
what's
doesn't
case
mean
law?
that we are ruled to be a Christian nation. That is completely incoherent. This is a fifth grader's interpretation
Bro, the
of
case was
what was
Church
said.
of Holy Trinity v. United States.
I
Do you
have
know
that
what
pulled
the
up.
Brewer decision was? Do you know what the Bruin decision just
Dude,
was?
hold on. You're moving too fast. Let me retort.
No.
Okay.
You know, because I'm
Okay.
going to prove to you that this is case law.
This is not case law. In a
It
1905
is. Do you-
book.
do you know what the Bruin
Excuse
decision
me,
did for the Second
sir.
Amendment?
Excuse me. You're talking
Well,
too
you're not
fast.
going to run from this. I don't know why you're trying to run from
You're
it.
steamrolling and you're bringing up a new point. I'm retorting to the last 5 things you're saying, okay? So
Okay.
allow me to
Okay, go
retort.
ahead.
But in a sense that could be called a Christian nation. This is the Wikipedia page you told me to bring up, all right? This is on this is on my YouTube right now. I have it pulled up. This is the Church of Holy Trinity of the United States. The case is famous for Brewer's statement in America is a Christian nation. It was a statement, not a ruling. These and many other matters might be noticed to add a
This
volume
is
of
someone else's
unofficial.
opinion, bro.
Excuse
this is
me.
someone else's opinion.
Excuse me.
I said
This
read,
is
you could
add
read
a
exactly
volume.
what the judge
Excuse
wrote.
me, I'm still talking, and they add a volume
go
of
ahead.
unofficial declarations to the mass of organic utterances that this is a Christian nation. But in a sense, can it be called a Christian nation? Not in a sense that Christianity is the established religion, or that people are in any matter compelled to support it. On the contrary, the Constitution specifically provides that Congress shall pass no law respecting an establishment of any religion or prohibiting the
Not
free
Congress.
exercise thereof.
Not Congress. Yeah, Congress won't pass the law.
This is not case law. Just because a judge uttered this doesn't make it case law.
The judge
What are you,
uttered it
two?
in the decision of the case.
No.
This is the judge's decision.
Nope.
You understand what that means?
There is no legislative intent for that. No.
You understand that they used to teach this in school, though, up until like the 1960s,
Reading?
1970s.
Yeah, I
This
know.
was common knowledge. This was common knowledge. This is why next to almost every Capitol building, every town hall building, next to it is a denomination of a Christian church.
Good stuff.
You probably can't look up one single state capitol building that does not have a state church right next to it.
That doesn't mean anything. I bet there's a McDonald's very close
Bro,
to it
how much
too.
evidence do you need? How much evidence do you want?
Are we a McDonald's
much?
nation? If there's a McDonald's within proximity of it?
When they built the Capitol, they built the church first. You understand that, right?
What does that mean? What does that matter?
Well, how much evidence? Like, what more evidence do you want? So I've given you case law.
You're so
okay?
desperate
I've
for us to
given
be
you
a Christian
examples.
nation.
I've given you examples of where our government has built
This is
Christian
not case
churches
law.
next to every
How many
building.
times do I got to tell you? It's not case law.
Bro, if you just Google what case law is.
I don't
I
need.
know
You
what to
need to
tell you,
Google
bro.
what case law
This
is.
case law. It's
You need
called
to Google what
Church of
case
Holy
law is.
Trinity v. Church of Holy Trinity v. United States.
Dude, this is not case law, bro. I
It
just
is
told you.
case
You
law.
need to Google what case law is.
It is. This is 143 U.S. 457.
Yeah.
It came out in 1892. Was a decision of the Supreme
Unofficial-
Court of the United States. Was a decision of the Supreme Court of the United States regarding an employment contract. And if you read into this, okay, now you got to read some.
This is not case law.
Please allow me to read some.
Go ahead.
Okay. Nevertheless, we constantly speak of this republic as a Christian nation. In fact, as the leading Christian nation of the world, this popular use of the term certainly has significance. It is not
Okay.
a mere creation of imagination. It is not a term of derision, but a substantial basis, one which justifies its use. The judge stated, "We are a Christian nation." Dude, you understand that in the 1892, everybody in this country was Christian.
Okay,
Up until
a lot of them.
probably, did you know that Barack Obama ran in 2008 and 2012 on marriages between a man and a woman?
Yeah, and he was also the first
Are
person.
you gonna sit there? Are you gonna sit there and pretend that I want to say every single U.S. president in history has sworn in on the Christian Bible?
Yeah.
And probably every politician up until the last probably 10 years.
Okay.
Are
that
you
doesn't-
going to
that
sit
doesn't
there?
mean
Are you going to
anything.
sit there and say that? Oh, but we're not a Christian nation because look right here
We're
in
not.
the First Amendment it says Congress shall not pass no law right here.
Christianity is incoherent, in my opinion, and it's dangerous to intertwine religion and
Then
government.
get out, bro. Then go to
What
an
do you mean, get out?
atheist country. You're in my country, bro.
You're in my country.
No, you're in my. That's what you don't
Uh-uh.
understand. Is you're sitting here telling me I'm giving you facts
There
about
are-
what America is.
You're
And taking
misinterpreting.
you down a brief history of this, and you're sitting here telling me that because 5 minutes ago this country became Sodom and Gomorrah, that all of a sudden I'm in the wrong place.
Okay, I'm so sorry this is happening to you, but this is not case law saying that we're a Christian nation. A judge uttered
What
this.
case law? Then what is it? Then what is that?
Case law
If-
is a decision explicitly about so like if someone were to sue the government and say this is wrong because it goes against the fact that this is a Christian nation, and the judges determine that this is in fact against the law because we are a Christian nation, that
Don't
would make
judges
this case
rule
law.
against that? Don't judges rule all the time against infractions against people's religion? Don't they
Excuse me.
say that all the time?
No, they no no Supreme Court
don't?
case.
I'm pretty sure.
Excuse me. This was a
Did
this
you
was
really
a
just say that?
yes.
Dude,
This was a
people
matter.
Don't go to court
This is
all
a
the
matter.
time for being discriminated
This court
against. Their
case.
religion isn't
This court
discriminated
case.
against.
This court case was a matter of employment. This is a court case and of a matter of employment, not
Yeah.
the.
What was the employment for?
Okay,
What was
it was
the
for a
employment
clergy
for?
person. The Supreme Court held a minister was not a
clergy,
foreign.
Yes, for the church. The church wanted to hire somebody, and the government said no. And the church said, "Dude, this is a Christian. I'm going to hire him. This is a Christian nation. There's no reason why I can't do this."
Okay.
And the judge said, "You know what? You're right. This is a Christian nation."
Okay, and in what sense are they saying this is a Christian nation? So like right now we're roughly, I think
Oh
it's like
my gosh.
60% of us in the United States are Christian. And you could just say,
At that
yes,
time,
we're a Christian nation.
100% were, bro.
Okay,
100%
but
were at that
okay,
time.
and right
even
now,
outlaws,
I know
like the
you
bad
want it
guys,
to be.
the Wild West guys were Christian.
Listen, I
even
know
the worst of us, the
this is
scummiest and the worst
this
of
is
us
what
were
I
Christian.
this is what I think you're doing. Your
Mhm.
religious beliefs
I'm presenting
are
facts.
so fragile that you need the whole country to do confirmation bias for you.
No,
That's what you need.
no. I just want people to go back to respecting Jesus Christ. That's all.
Respect
I want
him for
them
what?
to put Jesus Christ above all
For
other
what?
things in their life, because I think it helps a lot of people.
It helps people.
I think
like
it does.
do
Yeah, I do.
like
I do.
protect
I
slavery
mean,
or what?
listen. You just agreed that up until like 5 minutes ago, 99.99% of people in this country were Christian. Are you going to tell me that all of a sudden this country just became this great? I mean, put your hatred aside for Donald Trump. Are you going to tell me that this country just became this great 5 minutes ago, or has it been great since it was created?
What are you talking about? You're asking me what I think, how great this nation is? I think the more secular we become means the more developed we are. So like we have the internet, we have things at our disposal. Excuse me. The more information we have at our fingertips, we can look at things and say, hey, maybe the earth didn't flood. Maybe the earth isn't 6,000 years old.
$5.
Maybe none of this
Wild
makes
West
any
was
sense.
full of
Now that we're
violence
a
and
little more
prostitution,
educated,
they were
fewer people
definitely
are
not
Christian.
Unless
First off,
adultery
you know
was
the Grand
okay then
Canyon
or
was
something.
caused by icebergs, right?
Sure, I would love to talk to you about
So
the Grand
there is
Canyon.
there are signs of some type of giant flood that came along.
Okay, but
There's
not.
some
It was
signs of
local.
it, okay?
It wasn't
Now,
worldwide.
is the Earth 6,000 years old? No, I think the 6,000-year-old thing. I think that's a bunch of gobbledygook.
Okay, so what you're saying is now the whole premise of your book is now fiction?
No, there's no dates, and well, there's dates, but there's no like the Earth was made 6,000 years ago. People get that date from going off of the genealogy of the book. If you didn't know, the Bible is just the bloodline from Adam to Jesus. That's it.
Okay.
And people estimate the age of the Earth because in the beginning was this and so on and so forth. That's where the 6,000 years comes from. But I don't agree that the Earth is 6,000 years old.
So the whole
and I
premise,
don't even think the Orthodox Church says it is.
The whole premise of your book is completely flawed, then, right?
How is it flawed?
Because the Earth is not as old as the Bible says it is, and that people
The
obviously
Bible doesn't
aren't.
say it's 6,000
in the Bible,
years
I'm
old.
sorry.
I just told
I'm
you
sorry.
where they get that from.
You just gish galloped. We are not made of clay. We obviously have not derived from two ancestors.
Listen, the Bible states now think about this scientifically, right? Okay, all things are made of atoms, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so does it not make sense that man is made from the dust of the earth? If the dust of the earth is atoms,
no.
Does that not make sense to you?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think it would because it's too scientific for you.
Okay.
What different atoms are you made out of that the Earth isn't made out of?
I think we're made out of stardust. I think we're made out of atoms that come from.
Stardust is made out of the same atoms you're made out of.
$5.
Did you know that? Did you really not know that? Did you not know that
just saying
that the atoms in your body are as old as the atoms that exist a billion light years away?
Okay, what if the atoms in my body are older than this Earth? What about that?
They're not.
How would you know that?
You got to look up atoms.
How would you know
that?
You
got to look up Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's got a really good 12-episode series on this.
It seems like you need to brush up on it.
Tyson.
Yeah, it seems like you need to brush up on it.
You didn't even know we're all made out of atoms.
I just acknowledged we're all made out of atoms.
ATOMS, not ADAMS. Get your mind off the dude and get your mind on the science.
You're gish galloping and steamrolling, bro. You're laughing and using
You're just
science.
Spurging at this point. You're just spurging.
All right, that's a slur, bro.
That's not a slur.
Okay,
spurging.
What's it short for?
I couldn't tell you.
Okay, that's because you're stupid. It stands for Asperger's, which is a thing we don't say anymore.
Well, I apologize for that. I did not know. To me, if you just Google what spurging is, there is a definition. It is a specific word.
And they draw on the name that I just said. Yeah.
It doesn't mention Asperger's, so I've never heard it referenced to that.
Acknowledge.
If that is what it is. I do apologize.
Okay, you're yapping. I acknowledged Adams.
And
many of the founding fathers
Debates with Matt
were
Super chatted $5. Thomas Jefferson literally wrote his own version of the Bible that excluded the virgin
you're going to tell me
birth
George
and the resurrection.
Washington? George Washington, who famously flew the flag and appealed to heaven, was not a Christian?
Yeah, there's all sorts of heavens.
Well, I would say George Washington was pretty much the important one, wouldn't you say? You're going to tell me that John Adams, who went to church every Sunday in Braintree, Massachusetts, where his law office still is, you're going to tell me he wasn't a Christian?
Yeah,
Do you even
listen,
know
there might have been a
Do you
Christian.
even know how significant? Do you even know how significant John Adams?
It seems like
was
you
to
really,
the creation of this
really
country?
want certain people to be more important than other people for the sake of your argument. But I
Well,
would
no,
say
you just said that they were deists, and
Yeah.
I'm just proving the point that the two most important I'm not saying they weren't all important, but I'm saying the catalyst for all of this was John Adams when he nominated George
I
Washington
love that.
to be
Let's talk
general.
about John Adams.
The catalyst was that John Adams was a Christian.
Oh no, he was not.
Yes, he absolutely was. He carried a Bible with him everywhere he went. Bro, you can.
He
John
said-
Adams went
okay.
to church every Sunday. John Adams was the one who fought, who talked about how we're all created equal under God.
All right,
John
I want
Adams
you.
John Adams was famously used a black man as a witness
All right,
because he
you're-
argued that they were the same as us.
You're yapping.
Because
John
Christ
Adams,
made us equally.
excuse me, John Adams famously said in the Treaty of Tripoli that we are not not a Christian
Yeah,
nation.
dude, oh my gosh.
Oops.
Yeah, he also said you got to read the
Oops.
Tripoli. Okay, you
Oops.
got to read that. Okay, now Google this. John Adams famously said the Constitution is for a moral and religious person and is inadequate for anyone else. Could you look that one up? Now
Okay.
tell me how those two things conflict or
And
conflict.
does he say Christian or religious?
Well, listen, bro. When a Christian says religious person, they mean Christians. They don't mean jihadists. They don't mean Buddhists. They don't mean Islam. They don't mean that stuff. When a Christian says, I like religious people,
He
they mean
explicitly
Christians.
says that we're not a Christian nation.
No, he doesn't. Bro, you have to
Yes, he
read that,
does.
and you have to get the context of it. John Adams was
Tell me the
trying to prevent
context.
a war with that treaty. He was trying to prevent a war, and he was telling them that our Congress still had not picked a religion yet. He was saying that we weren't Christian really yet. And you're talking at that time, that was like what, like 1790, 1800s? 1892, the Supreme Court ruled we're a Christian nation.
The Supreme Court didn't rule that. That's not the
Yes,
ruling of
they
the Supreme
did,
Court.
bro. Yes,
No, they
they
didn't.
did, bro. Read that article. Read the ruling, bro.
I know you want
Dude,
that so bad.
When
That's
a
not true.
judge says not guilty, okay, when a judge says not guilty, it's not just not guilty.
Dude,
he gives you a
you're-
reason why.
You're fucking yelling this whole time, bro. You need to chill. You're giving me stress. You're giving my audience
Well, good.
stress.
I hope your audience Googles everything.
Nobody
I say,
likes
everything I
this
say.
version of your Christianity, and it's kind of gross and turning people off.
What version? My assertive version? My
Yes,
version
your
that's not
fascist
gonna
version.
Just tuck
Your
its tail
fascist
between
version
its legs?
where you're
My
intertwining.
fascist version.
Yes, where you intertwine government and religion. That is a tenet of fascism. Yeah.
No, I want to get rid of government. I want you
I'm
to
sure
take
you're-
care of yourself. And if you refuse to join the community around you, then you just won't make it.
What does
That's
that even
what I
mean?
want. I don't
What
want
does that even
government.
mean?
I don't want government paying for your house. I don't want government paying for
is
your
that-
car. I don't want government paying
All right.
for.
Hey,
Look,
do me
you
a
know what
favor.
a tribe is, right?
Do me-
I want
do
to
me
go
a
back
favor.
to us being tribes of people.
Okay, do me a favor, and I want you to say thank you, Ashley.
Thank you, Ashley.
Ashley, thank you for the $40 for kicking this man. I've had, needless to say, I've had much calmer conversations with people. W. Ashley's in the chat all day long. Can we kick the Christian nationalists? Thank you. Christian nationalism is disgusting, chat. It's disgusting. And it's incoherent. And you're going to hear these people drawing upon Christian values and trying to make laws around them, yet also saying things like he just said. I want to stop paying for other people's well-being. While in the Bible, it literally says to feed the hungry, to clothe them, wash thy neighbor's feet, yada, yada, yada. These people are complete hypocrites. Complete hypocrites, dude. And then he has Trump selling Trump Bibles. Make it make sense. All right, I'm going to turn the phone line back on. guest who was just kicked, please do not call back. Is that who I just talked to? Hello, is this a Trump supporter?
Yes, how you doing today?
Doing good. What do you like about Trump?
I like that we haven't gone to war yet. I like that he's just the president, you know.
I think we're I think we're not doing too hot on that level. I don't know if that's a good brag. So like I think that Trump by coincidence maybe didn't get us into any new conflicts, but I mean he did. You just don't know about it because you guys don't stay informed on geopolitics. But we are now alone on the world stage. We have fewer alliances or allies than we did before. We have nations in NATO.
Yes, but are we really worried about that?
Okay, yes, yeah. I think that we should stand be as strong as we possibly can on the world stage instead of hemorrhaging money on our own military.
But America's such a great country. It's a great country that you can build capitalism off of through idiots that think too hard on things that they don't really understand.
I don't know what that means.
War will happen no matter what.
So you're
and
saying
God bless America that it still exists.
God bless America that is still exists? Is that what you just said?
Yes, sir. I mean, whoever can be president, we already knew that Trump was president before. But as long as we are not in conflict that easy, we might as well say.
Are you familiar with the Turkish-Kurdish conflict?
No, tell me about it.
During Trump's presidency, he pulled out of a treaty that basically protected a group of people, and when he pulled out, a group of people were slaughtered to the tune, I think, of like 11,000. For a total of 40,000 people that were slaughtered because Trump simply, for God knows what reason, wanted to pull out of a treaty in the Turkish-Kurdish agreement. He also did 450% increase in drone strikes. So for people to say that we weren't in any conflict during Trump's presidency is incoherent and stupid.
Okay, yeah. I didn't vote for him. I didn't vote at all because I knew they were going to fuck it up either way. If you think Trump sucks, well, get him vetoed or some shit, like they said.
Get him vetoed? What
Okay.
the fuck?
So we can't get him out of office anyway, right? I guess, right?
Where are you from, dude?
Well, thank you for your time, huh? You want to say it?
Dog, this can't be real. Phone line's back on. Veto Trump 2026. Oh my god. Oh, we're so fucked. Hello, is this a Trump supporter?
I am neither a Trump supporter nor an offender. I'm for the balance, if such a thing can be said.
You're
Bacon super chatted $10. Thank you for your time.
Bacon. I love you. Thank you for the $10. So your microphone's like really loud. I couldn't hear what you just said.
Oh, sorry. Here, one sec. There you go. How's that?
That's a little better. What did you just say?
I'm neither for Trump or against Trump. I am for his current policies in some areas, and I'm against his policies in other areas.
What policies are you for?
What?
What policies are you for?
The policy that I was for was the pulling out of the agreements overseas that we had. One of them is his non-interventionist policies. Unfortunately, he likes to backslide back and forth on that, but at least he's getting a little bit better on that.
He's getting better on it?
Yes, he is. For example, one of his policies of non-interventionism, unfortunately, he's being pulled a little bit too hard by the Pentagon, is in the Ukraine fiasco. I don't support that because the unfortunate aspect is both sides are none of our business. The United States was founded on a non-interventionist policy so for example, when it came to the reason for us having a standing army, it's why we didn't have one. The creation of the United States was such that we would be self-independent via the 50 sovereign states, and therefore we'd be able to make money because we'd be the world's piggy bank. But then when we decided to shift
do you know what the Budapest Memorandum is?
The Budapest Memorandum, okay, yes, that's what I mean. The shift, that was a shift. Before that, we were supposed to be non-interventionists. We were supposed to be
but we agreed to do otherwise, right? On paper, and we signed it?
Yes, and that was wrong. That
was wrong, but we committed to it, right?
Well, that's the thing. We should. It's like many things that in this nation is that our commitment is what has cost us in the end, because now we're $36 trillion in debt and climbing. Well, that's what they say. Who knows how much more? But just because we have made a commitment.
I'm sorry, but this was like a nuclear treaty, probably the most sacred type of agreement that you could make on planet Earth or the universe.
Mm-hmm.
So just because you like have feelings about it doesn't mean that it's not there. We made a commitment, and I think we should commit to it.
Oh, well, that's actually a good point. But just because we make a commitment does not mean it needs to be followed. Because just like anything else, unfortunately, most of the known universe, including world, has treaties put in place that they don't follow. For example, Russia had a treaty that they wouldn't do anything of the sort to have this type of nuclear proliferation, but yet they abhorrently went against it. And then they had the same thing for a seemingly non-interventionist policy, though they had their problems with the KGB. They weren't going to sit there and let the Ukraine do what they did on the Donbass region, even though
what did they do on the Donbass region?
So in 2014, during the Donbass region, when the Ukrainians had a rigged election via the United States, so the CIA, there was a paper that they released in which we were actively involved.
Yes, we were trying to get a pro-Russia puppet out of the control of the government. Yeah.
Right. No, but see that again, that's an interventionist policy. And that's one of the things that now we like to say this, for example, if the Russians did that in the United States right next to us in, let's say, either Canada or in Mexico, that's something to where, like, yeah, with Donald Trump, and he got us out of that. Kamala was committed to going and doing a full-scale invasion into fucking Russia, which would have led to World War III. And I'm like, hi. Now,
we weren't committed to doing an invasion of Russia. Who said that?
No. That was one of the things that was pushed by the secretary at the time for the Department of Defense, that with Kamala was very committed to standing with Ukraine. And I do not want the United States to stand in any army where...
It was the United States' position since 1994 that we would stand with Ukraine because they gave up their nukes, right?
Right. But that's, again, that's one of the things, like, the Ukrainians, as much as
there's no takesies backsies, right? Because they gave up their nukes. So if they had their nukes, they wouldn't need our help.
Yeah. Wait, but there's always it's like there's no takebacks. When it comes to policy is a governmental issue that is decided upon by the people. If the people said that they wanted to have nukes, then the people will have nukes, because in a democracy, if I voted in that policy, then it will be a policy of the people. The government is supposed to be representative. So if it's representative that Donald Trump is in office, then his policy should be voted into place because the people voted for him, both the states and also
should be voted into place.
Yeah, I shouldn't be what?
I think you're a little incoherent here. So you're both for and against politicians doing bureaucratic stuff without votes?
No. I am against policies. For example, it's like I don't give a shit about people. People in the government are always going scum floats to the top. You should not trust a single politician that is in any office or holding any office of trust.
So you think that we should champion checks and balances, right?
Not checks and balances, not at all. Because again, the checks and balances that we have right now are incoherent. There is not a single policy that people are agreeing on. There's not a single.
That's strange. Like we just had 4 years of passing tons of policy. In fact, we did like monumental levels of policy with razor thin margins in Congress. Why can't y'all do that?
Right, because the issue right now is that Donald Trump, at least for the current administration, has had one of it will go down in history that he has had the most federal injunctions in the State of the Union ever.
He's trying to test the bounds of our government, and he's trying to consolidate power. And thank God the federal judges are stopping him. Thank God.
Well, that's actually one of the things that I was looking at, and very particular to a lot of the acts that he's put in place. And unfortunately, there is a lot of those acts that I've come through to the IT states in those acts that there is no such thing as judicial review. Unfortunately, even the judges, the Supreme Court cases at the time were saying this is an inordinate amount of power. However, there is also something with Donald Trump that is very particular to what he's doing. When it comes to these judges, there's a very peculiar thing that people like to say, which is an independent. There is no such thing. There are only three branches of government. That is the judicial, that is the presidency, and then that is Congress or the legislative. There is no such thing as an independent branch because it would be put into the Constitution that there is such. Therefore, all of these independent agencies, which Donald Trump is trying to control, because again, when it goes to the Constitution, Article 2 of the Constitution states that the executive power is in the president alone. The president alone is the only.
Dude, you're talking in circles, man. So you believe that the executive branch is independent, yet in the Constitution,
No, I didn't say that was independent. I'm saying Donald Trump is trying to control. There's independent agencies, quote unquote, independent agencies that are by and large. Congress had made these offices alphabet agencies that control executive power to certain degrees. The CIA, the FBI, the DEA.
Do you want Trump to have more or less power?
I want him to have executive control because the difference with these independent powers is that if Donald Trump has control, we can at least get rid of him. I can't get rid of the ATF.
You can get rid of him?
No, yes. For example, if a president that was in the Constitution, if the reason why the president has sole executive power is that we can veto him, we can remove him. I can't remove the head of the ATF if they kill somebody. Like if they went in, like a couple times before, the ATF have gone into people's homes, no knock warrant, and have killed people. And that authority means that I can't remove the ATF because they're quote unquote independent. But if they were under the jurisdiction of Donald Trump and Donald Trump signed off on that,
you can sue the government.
No. You can only sue the government under very particular circumstances because they have called sovereign immunity, and it's a very high bar to overcome.
It's not
yes, sovereign. No, it's like qualified
it's
immunity.
Not true. Every federal injunction is mostly and largely in result of someone suing Trump's actions.
No. They're not suing Trump. They're because
his actions.
No. If you look at in particular to each of the lawsuits, there are three lawyers that I look at, they're not suing Trump because it is illegal to sue or unconstitutional to sue the president.
Guys, I'm kicking this guest because this guest is, I think he's tinfoil hat. I think we even have some Trumpers in the comments that agree. Guy's not making any sense. I think we can do without that guy. Chat, I'm turning the phone line back on. If you want to call, you're welcome to call. He is off his. He is weird, dude. He was not saying facts. If you guys think he was saying facts, I feel sorry for you. What was he even saying?
Hello.
Hello?
Hello.
Hello, are you a Trump supporter?
Yep.
All right, what do you like about Trump?
I like his policies.
Which ones?
I like his immigration policies.
All right, let's see if this tracks. Do you think that we should send people to the world's worst prison for the rest of their life for crossing the border without inspection?
Thank you for your time.
Speed running debates, chat. The phone line's back on. Bro folded like origami. Today is good chat. YouTube is crazy. YouTube is crazy. These callers are priceless. Chat, don't forget to follow if you enjoy these debates. Yellow, is this a Trump supporter? Hello, is this a Trump supporter?
Right. Yes, it is.
All right, what do you like about Trump?
Immigration policy. I mean, there's a couple of things, but immigration policy
All
primarily.
right. Do you think that we should deport people and send them to prison for the rest of their lives for being in this country illegally? Without due process?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, you clarified it yourself, right? Enter the country illegally, right? In itself is a crime.
Yeah, that's a
which
Class C
means
misdemeanor.
That doesn't matter, man. Put it this way, right? Let me put this into perspective for you, right? Who is the person that you love the most in your life?
I don't know. My girlfriend.
Okay. Imagine that a person who is undocumented, okay, that should have never been in the country, regardless of how many years they've been here, whether they worked or not, doesn't matter. The fact is they were in the country illegally, all right? Let's say, drink and drive, and ends up hitting your girlfriend's gone. That person should have never been in the country. That person would have never put your girlfriend in that position.
That's already illegal. So, like, you can go to jail for manslaughter, intoxicated manslaughter, for like 5 years, but not for the rest of your life.
Don't mix two things up. Answer the question that I asked. Are you going to be happy with the fact that a person that should have never been in the country to begin with?
That's irrelevant.
Your girlfriend's life.
That
No, it's
is not a thing. People that shouldn't be here.
It is
Okay,
not.
it is. So, like, that's a civil infraction. Yes, you're saying just because they were here and they weren't inspected at the gate that they should go to prison for the rest of their lives without due process, without seeing a judge.
You enter the country illegally with no process, then there should be no process on the way out. Plain and
That's
simple.
not true. We have a constitution, and it says that all people on U.S. soil get due process.
All people who are in the soil on U.S. soil illegally, my friend.
No,
legally.
That's not
okay?
that's not part of the
But
sentence.
don't deviate from my point though. That person should have never been in the country to begin with.
What does that even mean? How do you prove that without due process?
They don't have documentation to be in the country legally.
How do you
Simple.
how do
They
you know
enter
that?
the country illegal.
How do you know
How
that?
do you know that?
Yeah.
Because you see the people crossing the border illegally.
You just see them?
Sure. I mean, like, I know a ton of people that have crossed the country illegally. I'm Latino myself, by the way.
Yeah, I know. You're saying that a civil infraction that is akin to like a parking ticket.
How is driving drunk and hitting somebody when you shouldn't have been in the country to begin with a civil infraction?
I don't know how DWIs or intoxicated manslaughter came into this, but I'm saying just being present, standing here, standing on U.S. soil, and not having a legal residency or protective status or anything like that, that is something that you can go to prison, one of the world's worst prisons, for the rest of your life.
Listen, first of all, it's not one of the world's. Sorry. First of all,
it
is. It's
CCOT.
not one of the world's. No. It's not
CCOT is
one of the
yes.
world's worst. Listen, you want to talk about world's worst prisons? Talk about, Black Dolphin. Talk about the prisons in the Philippines. Talk about the prisons in Singapore.
I said one
Vietnam.
of the world's worst prisons.
It's not.
If there are
it's
two
not up
prisons
there.
worse than it, then it's there. It's up there.
Right. Well, I mean, at the end of the day, you still haven't answered my question, right? The person should not have been in the country to begin with.
That
If
doesn't
somebody
mean-
took a life of a.
That doesn't make any difference. If you are drinking and driving, you go to jail for drinking and driving. That's it. That's it.
But the person, you're missing the point, man. The person should have never been in the country to begin with.
What does that even mean?
Right?
What does that even mean?
If
How
the
do you know
person's
that?
non-existent in the-
How can you prove that they shouldn't have been here in the first place? Can you tell me?
Because they entered the country by going through the gaps in the walls or through the Rio Grande and came through illegally.
And
by
how do you
taking
prove
peyotes
that?
anywhere
Does a judge come and say, hey, you should have never been here? Shouldn't you have that first before you send them to prison for the rest of their life for simply standing on soil they weren't supposed to be on?
No other country tolerates that. You know that, right?
There's plenty of countries
name,
that do.
Name another country that will just accept, what's the number now?
Literally
11 million
every
or something
country,
like that?
every single country in the UN accepts people like we do.
Not illegally, man.
What do you mean illegally?
Undocumented. You cross the U.S.-Mexico border and go into the United States by sneaking in, you have committed a crime.
That's not true.
Yes, it is.
That's not true.
Yes, it is. You know how I
It's
know,
not true.
bro? Because my uncle lives in the United States illegally for 20 years, and he crossed in and out.
What if your uncle went to prison for the rest of his life and caught?
Well, you know what? He knew the risk of what could or could not happen.
So you're like,
when
so
you cross
what?
the country illegally.
So you're like, so what? Your cousin could go to prison for the rest of his life, and you agree with that?
Hey, man, if when people put themselves in those kind of situations, they also have to be responsible with the possible consequences that may come. All right, whether something is legal or not in the beginning, policies and laws could change at any point.
There are justified consequences. There is justice for committing a Class C misdemeanor or a civil infraction, and sometimes that's like $300 a fine, not
but
prison
you know
for the
what?
rest of your life.
That applies to a person that has lived in the United States legally, not when it's illegally, man.
You're not making any sense. What is
Of
the
course, it
crime
makes
they
perfect
break?
sense.
What is the crime that they break? Can you tell me what the crime is for being here illegally?
Let me see.
What's the crime?
First of all, you're entering the country illegally. All
Yeah,
right?
entry
So
without
let's put that aside
inspection.
for now.
Entry without inspection.
Then you are working without a permit. You are draining the economy.
You're not draining the
millions
economy.
of people. Of course you are. You're telling me that
No,
all
you're
the migrants that were. You're telling me that all the migrants that were given all those food cards or whatever it was, preloaded cards in New York, that wasn't draining the economy.
Those are asylum seekers. Those are people. Those are people here illegally.
Doesn't matter.
Yes, it does. You're talking about illegal migrants, and we're talking about legal migrants. Legal migrants do get preloaded cards. Those are people here legally under the purview of the federal government.
You can call it and spin it whatever you want. At the end of the day, all those people who supposedly seek asylum because they filled some app that was launched by the liberal government that says, "Oh, as long as you click on these buttons in this app, you consider legal." Sorry,
can
that
you
doesn't fly, man.
answer this question? When was that app? When was that app released?
I don't remember. I honestly don't remember.
Let me give you a little hint. It was during Trump. October 2020.
You know what?
Oops.
Trump was in power 4 years from 2016 to 2020. The Dems were in power since 2008. These problems have been ongoing way before Trump, man. Way before.
You just glazed over this. Trump's administration is when that app was released.
Yeah, that's perfect fine. And then the app was eliminated as well. I'm not saying the guy's perfect either, right? I don't agree with him 100%. There are other topics that I don't agree with, which is fine. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, somebody's going to vote
so
for
you're wrong.
a president.
You're wrong about
Not
liberals.
necessarily.
So all this app
I'm
did,
not wrong. I just
all
have a
this
different
app
opinion,
did was
right?
it gave people a legal avenue to come into the country with temporary protective status. All of these things are legal. They were done the legal way. You guys are like, oh, we're all for legal migration. But when we give them a legal avenue to come in, you're like, that's not right. I don't like that. Send them to prison the rest of their life.
You're telling me that all of the people that are shown on the news crossing the Rio Grande at nighttime and all that stuff, sneaking into the countries, all that stuff was done legally? Just because you cross the border legally and then fill out an app doesn't make it right.
You're mixing all of these things up, right? So there's a law. It's called 08. Here, I'll write it down for you. It's called 08 USC 1158. And it says that you can cross into the country at a legal port of entry or not at a legal port of entry. And you have 1 year to claim asylum. That is the legality. And it's been that way since 1952. And if that hurts your feelings, go live in a country where it reflects your feelings, but this is what the law is. So you can't just automatically just say, I don't agree with that, send them to prison for the rest of their lives. Sorry.
I mean, nobody said that they're going there for the rest of their lives. It's up
They
to
are.
that prison now to
If you're in
determine.
CCOT,
I mean,
it's for the rest of
well,
your life. The only way out.
Have you seen the guys in CCOT?
Yes.
They're all tattooed up to the max, right? So those
Yeah,
people
that-
are all
sorry.
primarily, I'm sure. No
It doesn't
program's
matter.
perfect. I'm sure there's a couple of people got, mixed up in the whole thing, and I'm sure there's, a couple of people there that shouldn't be there, right? But for the most part,
Yes, that's why we call for due process. That's why we need to see a judge before we
but
send them to
mistake-
jail
but-
for
but
the rest
mistakes
of
are-
their life.
But listen, mistakes in law are made, sorry, let me rephrase that. There are mistakes made in the judicial system, no matter what type of case you're dealing with. There's people on death row by accident. There's people in different that have done things that years later, they were
I don't care.
What's it called? Proven non guilty because DNA or whatever it was. So at the end of the day, I mean,
You're all over the place,
the
bro.
system, this is, but I'm all over the place because you keep throwing different things, so I have to try to cover my ends as well. But at the end of the day, the system is not perfect. It was never built perfect, and it never will be perfect because
Exactly.
we're human and we're
That's
not
why we
perfect,
should have due
right?
process. I
However,
think that adding due process in every instance is better than not having due process in any instance, period. Because guess what? Someone can come scoop up your uncle or scoop you up and say, hey, you're MS-13, straight to jail, no judge. When do you get to prove that you're not MS-13? When do you get to do that?
well, I mean, I'm not MS-13.
Wait. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Straight to prison, CCOT.
Well, you know what? Like, I mean, if that's what it is, that's what it is, my friend. But
That's
I'm not
what
going
it
to complain
is?
about it. When I cross the country illegally, I have to be realistic and face the consequences. Same things happen with all these dreamer people that end up having, what's it called, anchor babies or whatever. But at the end of the day, that shouldn't protect you at the end of the day because,
bro.
like an anchor baby, doesn't mean that you get to stay in the country.
Dog,
You know
does your
that-
uncle have children?
Oh yeah, he has children. He's
So
been
you
elected
have
in the United States.
cousins that you consider anchor babies?
They're absolutely anchor babies, my friend. They
And
had them
what
on
is your
purpose.
opinion of them?
What is my opinion
Go
of
ahead.
them? I don't have an opinion on them. I mean, they purposely had kids
Oh my
because,
God.
the mentality was that, if you have kids, they can't kick you out. They can't kick you out. That was the mentality. He's been in the States since the 80s, so I don't know how things were back then.
All right. So can you tell me how your uncle's hurting the system? How is your uncle hurting the United States so bad that he deserves to go to jail for the rest of his life?
I'm not saying that he necessarily deserves to, like,
Yeah, you do.
what I'm saying is,
you
if
said
he
that it's
gets caught-
justified if that happens.
Well, I mean, yes, because he's in the country illegally, right? He works with no permit. He's been doing odd jobs here and there or whatever it is. So at the end of the day, he's taking a position that could have been filled by somebody who's in the country legally.
And
That's
what
it comes
difference
to.
does that make? What does that hurt? How does that hurt you?
How does that hurt me? I never said it hurt me. I said
Yeah,
it hurt the general public.
apparently there are so
Because
many
when you
damages.
because when you
There's so many
multiply that-
damages. There are so many damages that it's worth sending someone to prison for the rest of their life. So tell me, what is the damage? What's the damage there?
What is the damage? It drains the economy, man.
How so?
It's multifaceted. Like, it's not a simple, answer. It's a complete from
I
all
would
angles.
love to know the
We're talking about-
facets. I would love for you to tell me about them.
Well, I'm trying to think of some, but I mean, economically, it definitely drains.
So you're
right?
not sure?
Some of these people end up somehow on like Social Security or whatever it is, or getting, whatever assistance it is, whether it's
You
going to
can't
food
you
banks,
can't
going
pull
to
from
X, Y, and Z.
you can't pull from Social Security without a Social Security number, friend.
Guess what? A lot of these people use fake ones or borrow ones from
Okay,
people who
that's
are here
against the
illegally.
law. That is very
Exactly.
small. That is a very small amount of people, and we have
They haven't-
just as many. We have $97 billion in 2022 paid into the system from exclusively undocumented migrants.
At the end of the day, like I said, not every single individual that has come in is a threat. Okay, I get that part. But there is definitely a large component of these individuals who definitely should not be here. Point, period, blank.
Yeah, that doesn't mean anything to me. That still doesn't constitute prison for the rest of your life. And that's what I'm saying. I don't agree with Donald Trump's immigration policy in that regard. Neither should you. And for you to say that as a Latino with a family member who's been here for 20 years illegally, is
Oh
absurd.
no, he's
It's
been here
sad.
since the 80s, my friend. He's been in the state for 40 years.
40 years.
40 years. He's been in and out.
He's been here paying taxes, working, contributing to the economy. And you're like, so what if he goes to prison for the rest of his life? That's fucking weird.
Not really, man. When you commit a crime, when you go into a country legally, you know
Like
what the
parking,
consequences could
like a parking
possibly be.
ticket, a civil infraction.
That's
That's
not a
the
parking
level of
ticket, man.
crime that he did. Yes. The infraction
no.
you were talking about is entry without inspection.
Okay, so let me, you know what? So let me exit the United States for a while, become a non-citizen, then come back into the United States illegally. Let me go kill somebody, and you're going to call that an infraction.
Okay, now you're saying murder. You're adding murder to the mix. How does that happen?
How does that happen? With the peace
Are
and
all
the-
migrants,
with the
all illegal
same-
migrants are murders
with
now?
the same, not every single one of them. But what about all those girls that got killed? They got raped. They got assaulted or whatever.
Yeah, I know.
Right?
That-
What are you
the
gonna? What would you tell their families?
I would tell them to stop being racist.
It has nothing to do with racism, man.
It does. How many people were murdered? How many people were murdered last year from undocumented migrants? Tell me.
That I can recall, about 5 or 6 that I can recall of.
Five
Right?
whole
It could
people?
be more. It could be 5 or 6. But those are
Holy
5
shit!
things that should.
So the
those
group
are,
of
those are 5
13.
things that should have never happened.
No, that's
those are 5 things that should have never
No,
happened.
okay, but the absence of it. So like 13 million undocumented migrants.
Mm-hmm.
The 13 million undocumented migrants only brought forth. It's 29. 29 is the number. That's the amount of undocumented migrants that murdered somebody last year. That would make it the safest population of people on planet Earth. So you're only focusing on the 5 people that did die and not the thousands of people that didn't die as a result of this population. So let me tell you.
You go tell that to the families.
I
of the
will.
29
I will.
people that
I
were
would. I
killed.
would fucking say it to their face. I would say,
Then,
Lake
you
and
know
Riley,
what?
your family sucks.
Yeah, I'm sorry, bro. Then you definitely have no morals.
You're talking about sending people to prison for the rest of their life for stepping over an imaginary line. You're the one who has no morals. You're talking about
Yeah,
sending
I
your
don't
own
think so.
uncle to prison for the rest of his life, even though he sounds like a good contributing member of our society.
Yeah, I mean, heck, it's a discussion, right? Doesn't mean that either one of us is right or wrong. It's your belief versus mine, and I'm gonna stick to mine. I don't think you're a bad person for thinking the way you do.
Do you know what the word bigotry means?
Oh my God, you're gonna pull this bigotry shit on me, dude. I
No,
don't
no,
care.
no. This is
I honestly don't care.
You don't
I'm
care?
44 years. Listen, I'm 44 years old. Don't school me on what bigotry means.
It sounds like I'm going to have to. Bigotry means you're adhering to a belief without reason. That's what you're doing. You're going, I don't care. I'm stuck in my ways. I like being right in this conversation more than I am comfortable with having morals. So you just sit here and condemned your uncle to prison for the rest of his life for stepping over imaginary line, and you're more concerned about the few people, the very low crime rate that these people bring to our country. You're more concerned about that. Your feelings are extra hurt because of the status of their migration.
Well, see how you feel about that when a migrant kills one of your relatives or friends, buddy. And I'm sure that your entire perspective is going to change 1,000%.
I would be just as hurt if it was a migrant or somebody who was a U.S. born citizen. And guess what? You are more likely to have a crime committed to you or against you by a United States citizen. That's the math. You are more likely 1/3
That doesn't
less
matter when at
likely.
the end.
Yes, it does. It matters that
The math doesn't matter.
if we were to flood the
Because
state
you're
of
bypassing
Texas.
you're bypassing the main point that I made. At the end of the day, they should have never been in the country. Point blank, full stop.
I don't care. I don't
If
care.
They would have never.
That doesn't.
If they would have
That
never
doesn't
been
make
in
a
the country,
difference.
none of these things would be a concern.
Actually,
Period.
a lot of these people who are legally here, you still don't care. You want to boot them out too. That is what Trump's doing. Even though they used an app to come here legally, you are still trying to kick them out. You don't care about the legality of their presence here. You just hate them for some reason.
No, I don't hate them, but there's a right way and a wrong way to enter the country.
Well,
and
they
they
did
chose
it the right
wrong
way, and you don't like that.
Yeah, no, they didn't.
Yeah, they used the app, right?
That app is a bunch of BS. That's why I got.
All right, that's
removed.
what I thought.
Yeah, it's a bunch of BS. I mean, you can.
Why
come
is
up
it a
with your
bunch of
own.
BS?
Why is it a bunch of BS? It got removed, did it not?
Why is it a bunch of BS?
Did it not get removed? It was getting abused left, right, and center.
How is it
Right.
getting abused? Can you tell me?
What do you mean? How was it getting abused? When you
Yeah,
have what?
tell me.
11 million plus people just.
That's not true. It was more like 1.5 million.
There was way more people that came in and used that app, and the ones that didn't, are even more illegally in the country than the other ones that did manage to use the app at the end of the day.
I don't
but it
think
doesn't matter, man. Numbers are numbers. You can tell me all your stats and statistics. I mean, it doesn't matter to me,
I don't
man.
make these numbers up. You just look at Department of Homeland Security, and
That's
then you
great,
listen to a
man.
Trump speech, and it's completely different.
You missed the whole entire point, right? At the end of the day, they should have never been there. Whether the numbers are what they are doesn't matter. Whether they only killed 29,
If they
or
were invited
5 or
here
whatever,
and they followed the legal process, what do you mean they should have never been here?
I'm talking about the ones that entered illegal, my friend. The ones that
No, you're not.
come
You're
in,
talking about CBP One app.
I mean, a lot of those people, they're just abusing it, man. They're just abusing it.
How are they abusing it?
You watch the news. I don't have to explain this to you.
Yes, you do. I would love to know your opinion on this.
They're abusing the app.
How are they abusing
people
it?
Coming in.
The app was the legal way to
They're
do
using
things.
They're using it as an excuse to come
They're
to the
using
country
the app
illegally.
as an excuse?
They were. I mean, the app doesn't even function anymore, to my knowledge, so it doesn't even matter anymore.
I don't get what you're saying. Just because Trump took it away doesn't mean it was bad, right?
How are you supposed to process 11 million migrants and go through the process? You tell me that without affecting the taxpayer and taking up court time and all that stuff. It's literally impossible to do it in like a lifetime based on how long it takes to process somebody with due process. If you really want to talk
So
about
you're
due
saying following
process.
the Constitution is just too hard to follow the Constitution? We should start breaking the law?
Constitution can always be amended.
Yeah, but by the states, not by the president.
That's why they gave him the power to do so, right? That's why
Gave who
amendments
the power
already
to do
exist
so?
in the Constitution, right? This Constitution has been amended in the past. There's multiple ways
Yeah,
to amend
by
the
the
Constitution,
states, by
provided that it's
2/3 of the states, not by the by the one president, by one person who paints his face orange. He can't just write down on a piece of paper that he wants to change the Constitution. We don't have kings in America.
well, he can put an executive order in. At the end of the day, we'll still have to go through due process on that end as well, right? Which is fine. And if at the end of the day it passes,
No, that's not
great.
that's not
It
how
was done.
you change the Constitution.
And there's multiple things that has to happen. Basically, you can't just. What I'm saying is, a guy can't just wake up. By a guy, I mean a president can't just wake up and say, "Oh, tomorrow this is going to be the land. That's the way it's going to be forever." So it might happen immediately upon him issuing this executive order, but at the end of the day, it still has to go through the different systems.
That's not how you start amending the Constitution. That's not even close.
There's multiple. Well, I don't know the exact process, but there is a process.
There is a process, and it's not by writing executive order. You're right.
That's how it started.
No.
But at the end of the day, it still has to go through a process. So whatever he says today may not be valid. I don't know, a week from now, whether the Supreme Court denies it or a judge
So an
steps in
app
or,
that is voted in and made a process by our, thank you so much, Hope Feels, an app that was made by Congress and legislated into existence is less official than the president, one person, this fucking dude who paints his face orange is more valid. It's more valid than a guy that writes down an executive order on a piece of paper.
yeah, I mean, government has their ways of doing. Like I said, there are certain reasons as to why I voted for him. Not every single reason I agree with him. There are some things that I stand completely opposite to him. Like, for example, the whole pro-life thing, pro-choice thing. I don't agree with his stance on that, for example. But at the end of the day, I'm going to vote for the things that matter to me, whether that means it's, let's say, 3 out of 6 things. As long as there's a couple of things in there that do represent what some of my beliefs are, that's why I voted.
I don't know if that makes any sense to me, man. I guess. I mean, like, it
Look,
sounds like you're kind of
what I'm saying is
backpedaling and getting
no, not
wishy-washy.
really, man. No. It's just that my daughter's calling me in the background because she's taking a bath, and I probably have to go tend to her. And then she's taking a bath, so I may have to cut this short. Not because I want to go. I mean, I enjoy talking to you, so you allowed me to speak. You didn't really interrupt me and stuff like that, so I do appreciate that. Yeah, man, we all have differences at the end of the day, right? We may be 100% right, 100% wrong, or 50% or whatever it may be, but that's the reason we have freedom of speech at the end of the day. But, I don't dislike you for feeling the way that you do. But yeah, thank you. I appreciate your time, man. I really do.
All right, take it easy.
Take it easy, brother.
Chat, follow the stream if you enjoy these debates. We have 1,000 people watching on TikTok. Love to see it. Thank you guys so much for hanging out. We're going to do more of these debates in just a second. But first, I would like to say, please give me a follow on my alt account. It's in my link tree. If you guys don't know where my link tree is, I'll do this real quick. Also, I have a Cash App and Venmo in my bio. If you guys don't like some of these guests, you can Cash App or Venmo me, and I will boot them. Or if you just want to send me a cup of coffee. But here is my backup TikTok. Give it a follow. I also have a third one that I need to put on here as well. It's not Pickles GGS. I was just banned for a whole week from both of these accounts, and hopefully I get live access on my third account so that I can stay live. But yeah. Let's get on to the next guest. I keep showing the phone numbers, chat. I'm so sorry. Need more Castlevania? Love Castlevania. Symphony of the Night for the win, chat. Hello, is this a Trump supporter?
No, I am not.
You're not a Trump supporter?
No, I am not. But I would like to, I guess, try to get to the point where I could try to defend them on their own behalf, because it's like they are poor at doing this.
I'm not doing any devil's advocates. I'm sorry. I do have... Can you give us a smaller gift goal? I can do that too. Chat, give me a sec. I'm so sorry, guys. I'd like to debate you, Swamp Gator. All right, let's do that. Yellow.
Hello.
What's up?
How
What
you
do you like about Trump?
Everything. I like his policies and the fact that he's carrying through with them. I want to back up, if you don't mind, to your last discussion about how do illegal immigrants impact you in any way. Do you know do you know how it costs the U.S. taxpayer at a minimum 120 billion, and at more accurately 180 billion dollars?
That's not
They
even
come
the number.
in. Yes, it is.
No,
180 billion.
No, it's the supposed number, and this was written by a
No,
house.
it's not. I just read it, dude. I just read it.
Yeah, no. The
I've
House
been
committee.
close
The
to
House
it
committee
as well.
says it's 160. It's not 180.
I said between 120 and 180. So okay, 160 billion.
Yeah,
I'll
but
give you that.
that's not substantiated anywhere. Do you
Yes,
have the
it is.
breakdown? Do you have the breakdown of that?
Well, it's different models. Different people have different opinions about it. But what they all agree is it costs the U.S. over 110 billion dollars a year. So that's one. That's the first thing. Okay, I pay taxes. Do you pay taxes?
I do.
Because you look for young. You do. What's your tax bracket? What do you do?
I'm the poorest person
This
on
your
earth.
job?
How about
You
that?
sit here and- Huh?
Yeah. Yeah, this is
This
my
is
job.
your job.
Mhm.
Well, man, you're
Welcome to
sucking it.
America.
All right, well, that's just the first point. The second point is you realize when all those illegal immigrants get flooded into the country at the tune of 10 to 20 million, which are the estimates.
The 20
these
million?
pe- 10, 100, 110, 180 billion. But yeah, but 10 to 20 million immigrants. That's the estimate.
No, it's not.
They fill up your schools. All their kids get enrolled in school. They don't speak English, so the teachers have to hire new teachers. They spend more time on these illegals because they got to teach them to speak English. That's
Okay.
it. That impacts everybody.
Yeah, so
Second,
hold on.
let me-
You're not going to gish out. First of all, you have a TV on in the background. Do you mind helping me out with that?
Yeah,
And
sure.
Second of all, I'm going to show you the stats of the actual numbers that came into the country over the last few years. And what you're going to find out is that Trump is a liar, like we've been telling you guys this whole time, and that you're just looking like a fool, okay? Here's 2018, 11.5 million. 2022, 10.9 million. This came out last year in August, so we don't have the 2024 numbers, but I can only assume it's somewhere in the wheelhouse of like 13 million. So the difference between 2018 and now is roughly like 1.5 million people in a country of 350 million. So that's
I'm glad you're
roughly
pulling up a selective
3%.
article, but that's not true.
This is not
It's
a
just
select
simply
article.
not
This
true.
is Department of Homeland Security. This is not a political
Oh,
article.
run by Alejandro Mayorkas and Biden?
No.
Do you realize
this is
you
by
asked about the app? You know what I'm saying? The
Brian
app was
Baker
illegal.
and Robert Warren.
I don't know who that is. Do you? Are they from CNN?
They're from Department of Homeland Security.
Yeah, and they all got fired. They're not there anymore.
Okay, what
because
is
they
that?
were stealing numbers and they're lying about it.
That's
they
not
had
true.
everything.
That's not true.
It is true.
It's not true.
Did you follow the Russia hoax? Did you follow the Hunter laptop
just
hoax?
because you don't like,
Don't you think those
just because
same
you can,
media outlets are going to protect Mayorkas?
you're just talking about Mayorkas and irrelevant.
No. Well, he was the
you're
implementation
talking about
of Biden's policy.
Okay, you're just talking
If
about
he really
random
was, the
arbitrary
autopilot
things. You're trying to muddy the waters by talking about arbitrary things that maybe you don't believe
How is
in.
that arbitrary?
Those
How's
are
that
arbitrary
arbitrary?
things.
What illegal kids filling up at schools?
Yes.
Eating the freaking, taking up the entitlements, taking Social Security, taking Medicaid from people who need it.
They can't take Medicaid.
You know what? Well, they do.
How do they do that? How do you apply for Medicaid?
Did you not watch Doge?
Listen,
Elon Musk
can you tell me how a undocumented migrant can pull Medicaid? Go ahead.
They get a fake Social Security number and they do it.
We don't have it. The amount of fraud with fake Social Security is negligent, and it's caught. It's like
Isn't that why Elon
0.0001.
Musk said there was over 1 million people had fake Social Security numbers, and you don't think they're getting any entitlements with a fake
No.
Social Security number?
We have the
Well,
data on that.
You're delusional. You're delusional.
We have the data on that.
Okay.
Yeah,
We are debating on it.
No, I
we
said
are. You're
we
just
have
wrong.
the data on that.
No, you don't. No,
Yes.
you don't. Don't give me some BS article from Brian Baker and Robert Warren.
We have the data. This is not an
You
article.
don't have the data.
This is just a .gov, DHS.gov PDF, okay? This is a PDF. This was not a propaganda piece spewed by CNN.
Oh,
this
sure
was
it
not
was.
given to, no, it was not. This is something
Absolutely.
that
It
I
was from Biden
found
and
that our
Mayorkas.
government did a study on.
If you don't think they're allowing these
Let me
people to
ask
get
you,
Social Security numbers,
where did you get
do
your
think
numbers?
Do you think they're getting Medicaid in California?
Did you get your numbers from a politician with a microphone on stage? Is that where you got your numbers?
No, where'd you get yours? In a back alley from some purple colored hair liberal?
No, this is from our government.
Yeah, it's from Mayorkas' government and Biden's government. Mayorkas, he implemented the app, whatever it was, the BP1 app. That app was completely illegal because it
Illegal?
circumvented illegal.
How
'Cause
is it illegal if it was legally done?
Because it circumvented the laws of how you get into the country legally. You're going to come through points of entry.
That's not true. That's not the law.
It's exactly true. It's exactly true.
All right, I'm gonna prove you wrong. All right, I'm gonna learn you something today. Okay, get your
Well, I'm-
crayons out. This is 8 USC 1158. Okay, you see this on the screen? Are you there? I'm gonna Google this, and you're gonna read this with me. Okay? We're even going to we'll summon Miss Rachel to read it with us. Are you there? Oh, there we go. Are you there? Mr. Swamp Gator. He's teacupping. So, any alien who's physically present in the United States who arrives in the United States, whether or not at a designated port of arrival, including an alien who's brought to the United States after having been interdicted in international or United States waters. So, the important part of it is whether or not at a port of entry, whether or not a port of
That
arrival.
says you have to go. That says you have to go out and physically let them in, pull them in.
That's not
Does
true.
it not?
No.
You just read it, Einstein.
Any alien who is physically present in the United States
Dude,
or
there's-
who arrives in the United States, whether or not at a designated port of arrival. Where does it say we have to pull them in?
It's not the only thing that causes it to be illegal.
Okay, this is the terms of asylum. This has been this way since 1952.
You realize Mayorkas didn't follow immigration laws. You do.
You're
can agree
going to
to
tell
that,
me about immigration laws. I'm sitting here teaching you the basis of
Wait,
how
you're not
these
teaching
people
me
came into the
anything.
country.
You're not teaching me anything.
I believe
you're
I am.
spewing fucking lies, and you're asking your guests stupid questions because you have no substance to your argument.
I'm sitting here quoting laws. Tell me the law that was illegal that made Mayorkas' CBP1 app illegal. Go ahead.
It's not illegal. It's not a legal app, and I can research it and pull it out. I've heard a number of
ahead.
senators talk about it.
Go ahead.
I don't have time right now, but I will.
Okay, so we'll just trust you for now.
Let's move on. Let's move on. What else were you asking about with that other guest? It was laughable. I kept hearing you talk. What was one other point?
So you don't want to acknowledge that it is legal to come at a non-port of entry? Guys, I didn't bring my basketball sneakers. I'm gonna twist my ankle. Hello.
Well, unfortunately, whenever I go to look up to find you something, it cuts me out of your room. So, but it is illegal. It's not legal. The people who are saying that are the Biden White House.
This is the law. It's been this way since 1952.
No.
Nervous laugh. Love it.
Not a nervous laugh. I just know I'm right. You're wrong.
You just know you're right, even though I'm sitting here reading you the law. It's on the screen.
Make it bigger. I can't see the law. Make it bigger.
There you go. You see the highlighted text?
No, make it bigger. Let me see the statute.
It's right here.
The statute. Do you know what a statute is?
1158. 8 USC 1158.
Okay, let me read it.
It's right. Can you read it?
Yeah, I'm reading it.
There you go.
Where does that say anything about the app?
This doesn't say anything about the app. This is saying how you can legally come into the country. You're saying the app was illegal because people. Excuse me. You were saying the app was illegal because they were coming over in non-ports of entry.
Years. I guarantee you, I know law a little bit better than you do.
I highly
that is
doubt
not. That is not authorized in the BP1 app.
Okay,
that just gives you.
You're saying the problem with the CBP. What was your legal problem with the CBP1 app? Go ahead.
It bypassed the legal ways to get into the country.
What legal ways?
It permitted illegal aliens to get on an app and come in, and it tells them how to come in without the Border Patrol seizing them or any other Border Patrol person.
No, it gave them temporary protective status. You don't even know what you're talking about.
Who did?
It gave them temporary protective status. What are you
And it
talking
was
about?
illegal. That's why their temporary status was revoked by Trump.
Dude, I am
And he did it
feeling real
properly.
bad for y'all. What are you talking about? What are you fucking talking about? It gave them a legal way to come into the country, and you're saying it was illegal.
Tell me where it says the BP1 app is legal.
Dog, our government made this the legal way to come in.
No, Biden's government made it the legal way to come in. It's not, and that doesn't say anything about.
You're wrong. Did you know
that
this CBP1 was made in October 2020 under Trump? You fucking goofball.
Trump did not make that.
Yes, he did. Dude, am I gonna have to slam dunk on you twice in 5 minutes? I needed this chat. I was yearning for the blood sport of debating for 7 days. I was yearning for it. I needed it.
Well, I needed it too because you're just spewing fucking lies.
Where's the
So
lie?
let's go on to the next thing.
Wait, what lie? What was my lie?
That the BP1 app is legal. That we only allowed 1 million immigrants into the country when it's between 10 and 20? How does it,
Wait, can
illegal
you show
immigrants
me?
don't
Can you show me
impact your,
any number
your
that
right?
shows that we allowed 10 million new people into the country over the last 4 years? Can you just tell me one number where to find that besides a Trump speech? Tell me where to find that. It's not even fucking close. The fact that you guys haven't Googled it and it's been 4 years, it's so sad, dude. Trump actually said it was 21 million last Monday. He said it was 21 million. You guys didn't blink. How sad is this, dude? It's on the government stats website. Well, I just showed y'all what the government stats on their website said. It's fucking on their website that there was like Biden was more likely to kick people out. Galaxy, thank you so much from What the F Winter Biker, thank you so much. Someone said, "What a coward!" Won't even scroll down, guys. This is the general. If you guys want to read more into it, there's a ton. There's a ton. You guys are welcome to do that on your own time. Come up here and slam dunk on me if I'm misinterpreting this. I would love to hear it. But I've heard nothing but Customs Border Patrol agents. I've heard nothing but attorneys talk about this. The last people I'm going to trust are MAGA people who listen to Trump and say, yes, that's the guy I want leading the country. That's the last people I want to interpret the law with. Is that case law? The fuck? It's law. It's Congress passed law. Is that case law? Dude, that guy's so down for case law. Bro thinks that when a judge utters something, it's case law. All right. We'll let him come back. It's been a hot minute. Chat, if you enjoy the stream, don't forget to give me a follow. We're almost at 200,000 likes. Thank y'all so much. Guys, it's so good to be back. I love you. I love you so much. Bro's not coming back. RJ, it's good to see you, dude. Shout out to RJ chat. If y'all don't follow RJ Okor, you're missing out. It's my work husband. If you're a friendly, get out of my box right now.
Maybe he needs to work out or something.
Hello?
Come on, bro.
Because volleyball, you don't have to run up and down, like, you know what I mean?
Lucho Luna, are you there?
Yeah. I'll try. I mean, I'll try anything, man. As long as he gets, you know. But it's just like
stays busy, you know.
He gets.
Okay. What are the exceptions, Grayson? What do you think is in the exceptions, Grayson? Go ahead and find it for me. Tell me. What's in the exceptions that's going to save you in this argument? Did you know that you're a liar? Guys, I'm still waiting for somebody to come up and tell me what I'm lying about. I'm just really hurting for it. I just want it real bad. I want it so bad. I want to be wrong so bad. I want someone to come and help me fucking sleep at night. Tell me that Trump is actually doing something good. I lose hope every day I talk to these people. I could say 100 million and still not be wrong. Nobody knows the exact numbers because they were untracked. What? What are you talking about? Ah! Yes, you would be wrong. You would be way wrong. All the way wrong. We know there were about 11 million encounters. So I think it's like 12. And an encounter means that a CBP agent came up and said, "Hey, bro, who are you?" And then literally half of those encounters, 50% to be exact, 50, were expelled immediately. Said, "No, sir, goodbye." Just like you guys do to facts, they said, "No, go away." Fox News and Newsmax got these MAGA thinking crazy stuff. I agree. These people really are like... You guys hear interviews of people in like Russia that are so confused, like, and so disillusioned with state media. Like, Putin is the greatest. Nobody's stronger than Putin. Like, Putin, like, they worship Putin. Like, imagine seeing another group of people in like a foreign country wearing the elected politician on their shirt and getting that elected politician tattooed on their arms and shit, or tattooed their name like on their fucking head. This is really happening. Can you imagine us seeing that? The way we would see that. And Trumpers don't see it themselves. Like getting their trucks or their cars wrapped in that politician's face and name. You imagine seeing like, I don't know, France. Like someone wrapping their car in France with their politician, and how weird that would look to us. That's what we see. That's how we see y'all, Trumpers. That's how we see you. It's fucking weird. It's fucking weird, dude. Hello. It's called patriotism. Hello.
Hi there.
What's up? Are you a Trump supporter?
I'm not. I was just wondering if I'm an immigrant. I was just wondering if I can express something.
Go ahead.
I just want, since you have a platform, and there's a lot of Trump supporters, I just wanted to share an opinion and call them out as hypocrites, because the immigrants obviously have been around for decades, and this problem has been around for a long time. I'm 45, and I have heard of this problem for many years, and it really bothers me because they only want us here when they need us, and when they don't need us, oh yeah, send them back. I just don't understand why they like to abuse the immigrant and never, help the immigrant out when the immigrant, all they do is contribute. It really hurts. It hurts to see all this hatred towards the immigrant. It's offensive to me because, we contribute a whole lot and we don't get our flowers. It really, as you can tell in my voice, it's just something that really hurts from all these, MAGA supporters. To me, I see them as nothing but hypocrites because, you could go back as far as the Mexican repatriation, when we had in the 1920s, when we had the government deport not only immigrants, but citizens of Mexican descent just because they were Mexican, It just, to me, to see it over and over again, these people not being considerate people, it just to me it doesn't make any sense. Like, to me, like, in what head, I tell myself, in what head does it like make any sense to get rid of your workforce, to get rid of the people that are pushing your economy forward? I'm also in construction, so I've been doing construction for a long time, so I see it every day, and I've been a part of a ton of different jobs where the immigrant is building contributing so freaking much. And all the people that complain, like, I would say to them, if you're listening, I would say to you, why don't you get to work? Why don't you just get to work and stop complaining? It's not the immigrant that's taking your work. And I would say this again. Yeah, everything is broken. Stop being a hypocrite. To anybody that's listening here, stop being a hypocrite. We see you, and we see your hypocrisy. It's ridiculous. You are, and to claim that you're a Christian, that ship has sailed. I'm sorry, you're not a Christian. You're not a Christian, and thank you for letting me speak.
Agreed.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Lucho. Yellow. Luis. He was an accident.
Hello?
Yellow. Tyrese.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, are you a Trump supporter?
Hey, what's up, son?
Are you a Trump supporter?
Oh, for sure.
What do you like about Trump?
I'm just gonna pick one thing. Let me see. His attitude. Heather, why are you saying hell no? Shut your white ass up.
Tyrese, so let's my eyes are up here.
Here.
Trump is so toxic for this nation. It's got people talking like that. That would be my big grievance about Trump. Yellow.
Hello, how are you doing?
Doing good. Are you a Trump supporter?
I am particularly no supporter of any man, particularly, but I would like to commend you. I am a high supporter of the people who take time out to actually read the laws and read the policies and collect data from the actual government site. So I commend you for that. However, to the people, I don't think we ever asked the question where does the names like Nevada, Las Vegas, Los Angeles, San Diego, where do these names come from if these people are so bad? Where does these names come from? Do we ever ask those questions?
You're just talking about like Hispanic heritage?
Yeah. Like if you look at the history, it's not new that they're here. They've always been here. In fact, if we are to be technically correct, is not Mexico still America, the continental landmass? So I think we get delusional by politicians and their messages rather than actually doing the research to actually look at the laws and look at the real history. So I commend you. I crossed your live and I was listening to you debate a guy, and when I saw you bring forth the facts and the idiot kept arguing against the facts, it was like, wow, this is the kind of guy that I like to talk to. Someone who actually reads, man. I appreciate you so much.
Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for
You're
the kind
welcome,
words.
brother. You're welcome. I appreciate you. Have a good day.
You too.
I'll be here.
All right. Guys, follow the stream if you like fact-based debates. If you like gentle parenting debates, that's me. 5% Miss Rachel, 90% gentle parenting debates. Hello?
Hello.
What's up? Are you a Trump supporter?
I would generally consider myself one, yes. And I have like a question based on like one of your viewers who just came, one of the immigrants from somewhere. He was talking about something. I have a question. Would you consider immigrant labor a benefit for this country?
Yeah. Yeah, it's not even debatable.
Okay, and then would you say that is because of the cheap labor and or the exploitative nature that they bring? Like
No.
people are able to exploit them because they are illegals, which allows us to pay them lower wages.
No, I think that the first of all, I would debate that just about every migrant that comes here, illegal or illegally, they get paid at least minimum wage. So if you're against people making lower, if you want to raise minimum wage, you would be voting for Democrats because that's one of our things. Republicans would never do that. Second of all, 80% more likely to be an entrepreneur as a migrant. So these people come in here and they create demand for goods and they're flexible labor force. And they also do jobs that a lot of Americans, like native people, do not want to do. So, like roofing is fucking hard work, and they get paid way more than minimum wage. They get paid way more than some skilled labor jobs.
Yeah. Okay, so what I'm trying to argue, I would say, is do you think it's a good thing morally that we are forcing them to work these manual jobs that have more, like, I guess you could say they're harder for them, and they're also getting lower wages than
They're
real
not also
Americans
getting,
are?
well, I would say they're not getting benefits, but debatably they're getting similar and decent wages, in my opinion.
Okay, so if we go to the benefits aspect of it, they're still being treated less than Americans based on benefits, Social Security, federal funded programs, right?
The things that you
You would
guys are
say.
gutting.
Okay. The, certain aspects of it, I guess you can say. But okay.
It's
Based
mutually beneficial, right? So like if you're making like $6 a day in Mexico and you want to come here and make $20 an hour and
Yeah.
work just as hard, I think you should be able to do that. I think that's just fine. And if our industries benefit from that, from having a flexible labor force, and which we obviously do, we have economists that have done the math. And if we were to take out all of the migrants, all of the illegal immigrants that are here and deport them, we would shrink our GDP, businesses would go out of business, farmers would suffer, all of these different industries would immediately eat shit. And so I would also say if you guys are for like workers' rights, labor rights, you would not vote Republican. Those are the people gutting all of those things: Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, food stamps. You guys are gutting that stuff, and you're also reversing child labor laws. You're not for raising minimum wage. All of these things are antithetical than the movement of the conservatives. So I just don't believe anybody that comes up here and says things like this if they voted for Trump.
okay, but okay. For example, although these immigrants they're highly beneficial to our country and our GDP, our labor force, all of that. That's all like indisputable.
Yeah.
We can't deny that. But then also from the same lens, we would say, I guess, importing things from China, places where workers' rights are very low, where they have sources of child labor, and people can work are forced to work in conditions that are extremely, I guess, bad, and for much lower wages. Although they are beneficial for our country, is it morally acceptable for that to happen? Is kind of what I'm trying to say.
I think that if you're voting Republican, yes, because you guys are reversing child labor laws. You guys are for children working, and Democrats are not. So yes, and the more we do trade with China, the less and less you see of that. So the more that their economy develops and trades with the rest of the world, the less and less you see of that. They are in a trajectory to bypass us in GDP, and their cost of living is drastically lower. So if you just look at their average wages alone, it doesn't really spell out the whole picture.
But wouldn't their standards of living be much lower because of like, all the benefits and things we get here in the U.S. compared
No.
to the communist China?
No.
Then why would it be lower?
Why would what be lower?
Their standards of living.
Have you seen China recently?
I mean, it's not. It's still one. It's a third world Earth. There are certain parts of it that are highly developed, obviously.
Yeah.
But most of China lives in poverty.
They're fucking. Are you over 18?
I just turned 18 a week ago, May 22nd, 2007.
China is literally fucking shit up. They are killing it over there. They are bypassing us in technology. They have like, if you want to live in a fucking like penthouse suite in China, it's like $500 a month.
That is all true, but that is only for the top 1%. That is not the majority of China. Most of China lives in poverty.
Well, we have a very scoped economy too. We have a huge wage divide, and their wage gap is, or their wealth inequality is much less than ours. Our wealth inequality is fucking insane compared to theirs.
I think there have been many studies. I don't have the exact one, but I think you would agree that the lower classes of America live better than the lower classes of China. Would that not be a true statement?
Not really. There's not really very many homeless people in China.
So so you're saying that the lower classes of China live off better than the lower classes in America?
Yeah. Do you think being homeless, living in the woods in a tent, is worse than living in a very small, like, flat in China? Like, I would much prefer the flat in China.
Because they do not have any of the rights that we have. Because people here have a much better ability to climb up the ranks, I guess you could say, than compared to China in a communist nation.
I don't know what that means, but
I mean,
we
people in poverty in America, or I guess that's what the American dream is. People, no matter where they are, what class they're a part of, they can advance from those classes. They have the right to get an education here in America, which can allow them to go on.
same
They
thing
can
with
get
China.
scholarships.
China has fully paid college. You're smoking, dude.
But they don't have the same access to education like we do.
They have more.
As in what?
As
Do
in
they have
higher
free
education, they have
education?
fully paid college. Yeah. What?
Even like schooling in classes?
Yes.
Like, so why is it that there are more people living in the lower classes than in America?
Because there's like fucking 1.6 billion people in China.
But even in the ratio, in comparison to America, it's much larger than America. If you're even if you're factoring in population.
Where do you see that? Like they literally have very few homeless people compared to us. Where are you seeing this?
Do you have like sources for you, like the homeless populations of China compared to America? I'm just wondering. Hey, you can
Like
pull it up.
I think this is where you would prove your point. I'm not gonna go fishing for you.
What my main point was to say was just because these immigrants do benefit our economy greatly at the expense of them working for like uh, less benefits, less wages than our average Americans, that doesn't mean that is morally acceptable to source them as labor.
It's generally less likely to be homeless in China compared to the United States, though both countries face significant challenges. China has no large population percentage of people experiencing homelessness. They figured it out better than we did.
Okay. So do you believe? Why hasn't the Democratic Party done anything about it? I'm not saying the Republican Party has. I'm saying
We're the only one that does things about it.
But that's not been the trend during Obama's administration, Biden's administration.
We're
Bill
the
Clinton's
only party that
administration.
passes things to like give more people food stamps and like social services and take people out of houselessness. We're the only party that does that. We spend billions on this.
Why hasn't that resulted in less like poverty, less unemployment?
It does.
All these things.
What do you mean?
That
How does it not? Where do you see? Where do you
Even
stating
with
people out of houselessness? We're the only party that does that. We spend billions on this.
Why hasn't that resulted in less unemployment?
It does.
All these things.
What do you mean? How does it not? Where?
Employment has stayed, or unemployment the same.
Unemployment was lower. Biden had a lower unemployment rate than Trump, 3.5 versus 3.6, a 70-year low. So we absolutely do. We make way more jobs, and it also goes to show that the cities that have more social safety,
more
like
jobs. That's only under Biden. That's
under
only
every
under Biden
every
because of the
Democrat
COVID pandemic.
Every Democrat president in recent history since the Cold War has created 50 times more jobs than Republicans. 50 to 1 is the actual literal number that Democrats create jobs.
Where's your
compared.
source? There, that is.
It's a literal. I'll show it to you right now.
Okay. And I have a follow-up question after. Or I'll just ask it to you right now while you're pulling up. If that's true, why hasn't that benefit on the economy been seen? Why is there still?
I don't know I don't know what metric you're looking at, but it's literally not unseen. You just have to look at the numbers.
The gap that you're talking about between the wealth disparity between lower and upper classes, why hasn't there been change seen in that under Democratic presidents? If there's been
what do you mean? We literally track this
advancements in
data. The
welfare.
data is there. The data is there. What do you mean it's unseen? I know Trump goes around and campaigns on the fact that everything's so bad all the time under Democrats, but if you actually just look at the data and not listen to the fucking idiot that paints his face orange, you'll see that's not true.
I mean, all right. So, so you, all right. So just to end it off, you don't think there's, or going back to the first point, you don't think there's anything morally wrong with immigrants working for less benefits and things? Okay. All right. Thank you for your. I just want to say I'm not like a big Trump guy. That's just one of the questions I have. So yeah. All
Appreciate
right.
you.
That's you answered my questions, and I think some of my opinions have been changed. So yeah.
Thank you. Take it easy.
Okay. Yeah.
Yellow. Yellow. What does the MBM scene? I mean, MBM mean? I see that in a lot in people's usernames. Yeah, I think we're in a pocket. Misbehaved man. What does that entail? What does that mean? Does that mean we're naughty? Oh, well-behaved persons seldom make history. Okay, cool. I like that. I like that. Good trouble. Okay. Love that. You know, I have such a big man crush on Good Trouble. Just a solid dude. What's up, Andrew?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, man. What's up?
There we go. How's it going, dude? Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you. Feels good.
You have been missed. I've resorted to watching puppets on TikTok. Like I don't know what to do
Oslo?
with myself. Oslo, yeah, you know Oslo, yeah.
Dude, Oslo's got one of my shirts. I wonder who the fuck it is.
He's going on a shirt? That's sick.
He owned one of my shirt. He bought one of my merch shirts.
Oh, he bought one of your shirts. I
Yeah.
thought you were saying you
Meaning
put
I
his
might
face on
have
the
his
shirt.
identity in my in my disposal.
You might know. You might know who he is. But yeah, I think he's pretty funny. But anyways, I'm talking about you. I'm trying to say that you are back, and this is great. I've been doing yard work and listening, so I just wanted to come up and say, hell yeah, welcome back, brother.
Well, I appreciate you. Yeah, I'm stoked to be here. I was saying this earlier. I've been arguing people in the comments of my YouTube videos, and I've just been fucking fiending.
It's not the same. It's not the same. Typing angrily is not the same as TikTok. It's
Yeah,
not
I
the
know.
same.
Yeah. Been
Well,
hurting
I
for it.
won't stay long because I'm a friendly, and I know friendlies. I'm watching the views drop just by me being here. But thanks for being back, and we all, what is it, the Pickle Fam? What do we call ourselves
The
here?
Bubs.
We're the Bubs. We're all stoked. Like Christmas today. All right, have fun.
I love it. I love it. Thank you.
All right,
We love you.
bye. Love you too.
I might turn the YouTube phone number back on. What do we get? 3 hours? I might take a break, give my girlfriend a FaceTime, eat some dinner, and come right back. My girlfriend's out of town, chat. So I'm gonna be streaming my D off for the next 5 days. Minus one night where I get to go eat sushi with one of our community members. So stoked about it. Pickles, missed you so much. Chat, you stop it. You stop it. You stop it right now. What flavor are these, guys? There's soy boy flavor. You see that? No, they're wasabi soy. Ah! Someone on YouTube goes, "You mean boyfriend?" I get it, because you're homophobic, and it's funny. I love that, because it's homophobic. Because homophobia is funny. I know, on Pride Month, guys. First of all, we have soy stuff on my face. Happy Pride Month, y'all. I fucking love my LGBTQIA plus community. I'll let every one of you, I'd kiss any one of you on the mouth. Open mouth. With your consent. I would do it all day. Love y'all. With that said, I'm gonna be right back. It's hit 3 hours. I'm gonna take a little break. I love you. I'll see you guys in just a little bit. And I'll see you soon. Give me a follow. Follow stream chat. Follow stream. Love you. Bye.